Panago Pizza presents SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
Leafs win! Woo! Stars showed up. Woo! The kids showed up. Woo! Jake Muzzin broke his hand again.
Woo, woo, woo.
Woo! Am I right?
That's no fun.
That's no fun. Is it not, though? I think we could have some fun.
We might have some fun.
Well,
Yeah.
did you listen? You know, when my team's best remaining defenseman breaks his hand, you know what I want? An inspirational video posted by Kyle Dubas.
That was the Chinese farmer video,
Yes,
right? That he
Alan
posted about
Watts,
that?
I think it was.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check that out. I didn't get to watch it in full, but
Oh, Adam.
he's so deep.
You know what? The first time I heard it, I was like, Dubas, shut up. I'm mad at you. The second time, I was like, you are wise as you are handsome.
Luke Fox tweeted today, imagine if they had traded Barrie.
Oh.
And I said, yep, imagine if they had.
Would have had to throw Troy Stetcher in that first-round pick on the ice. Hey,
That would have been a problem.
quick thing. We've partnered with Crown Royal, obviously, to live generously, and our friends at Crown Royal have generously offered up the chance to win tickets to see the Toronto Maple Leafs this season, maybe with Jake Muzzin. Because the contest runs until March 27th. If you're a resident of Toronto, visit crlivegenerously.com and tell Crown Royal how you've been inspired to act generously for a chance to win a pair of tickets. There are a few prizes left throughout this contest period, and the prizes range from $422 to $834. Odds of winning each prize depend on the number of entries received by an applicable draw date during the contest period. The contest closes, as I said, March 27th at 12 p.m. Entrants must be 19 and a resident of Toronto to enter. 19 plus, that is. The selected entrant must answer a mathematical skill test in question in order to win. Good luck! crlivegenerously.com. Let's get into who wore the crown.
Bursting!
So, why are you bursting?
Say the thing so I can say it.
Why not?
Why not?
Pour yourself in a friend of Crown Royal, because it's time to talk about who wore the crown, where we, with the help of you, recognize one Leaf player who gives it their all for the blue and white, because it's our town, it's our crown. It's not what you have, but what you have to give. We're going to crown a Leaf that lives generously by giving it all for the team. Brought to you by your friends at Crown Royal. Live generously, and life will treat you royally. Let's get into it. Steve Dangle.
I'm a smart guy, Adam Webb. Very smart guy.
You're a smart guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I know who you're going to pick. I think I know who Jesse's going to pick. I think. I have a
You
hunch.
don't know these things.
I don't know. I don't know a lot. So I know who my pick is, but I think Adam's going to pick that person. Sometimes when you talk a big old bunch of shit about someone and they do well, you got to give it to them.
Oh, listen. I'm here for it. Please prove me wrong. Based on what we said last episode, I'm ready for that. That's what I want.
I'm going to give it to Travis Dermott.
Wow. All right.
Give it to
All
Travis Dermott.
Why the Dermster?
You know what? Well, it could have been a Dermster fire.
I see what you did there.
You see, because,
like that.
again, big,
I liked it. I
big
liked it.
brain. Big old brain. Listen, when Muzzin went down, the Leafs got outshot 14-3. It was all bad. It was very bad. All that was left was Dermott and Sandin. And Sandin took a penalty in his first shift of the third, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It was all bad. And he was
Sandin played 5 minutes and 10 seconds in the first two periods, on for both goals.
Yeah, and he was on for all three.
And then he was on for the third, yeah.
And we'll get into that. But it was basically on the left side up to Sandin, who is 19. Like, I have a hard time going at him too hard on account of he could be doing his victory lap in high school right now. Travis Dermott, even still, I mean, he's been in the league for a while, but he's on his ELC. He's coming up in the end of it, but he's on his entry level. And I thought he had a good game. He battled. It wasn't the Mona Lisa. It wasn't perfect. But he got in there and he did what he knows how to do. And they won the friggin' game. So I'm going to give it to Travis Dermott because forget the third period against Tampa. It sounds like he's going to be relied on pretty heavily for the next 4 weeks.
I just want to throw this in there. Sandin and Travis Dermott basically split the third period in shifts. So Sandin might have played 5 minutes in the first period. By the third period, he played 9:34 just in the third period alone.
Yeah, he played half the third period.
And Travis Dermott played the other minute 12 or 11. Sorry, minute 12. 11 minutes and 12 seconds, basically. It was
In
almost
the third.
Yeah, that's what he played in the third.
Travis Dermott played 11 minutes in one NHL period.
Yes.
They didn't have a choice. That's the thing.
Yeah, but what do you do?
All right.
What do you do? They don't cancel the game, and there's no emergency defender, so you just had to do it.
That's
Imagine.
true. Just pick a guy out of the audience.
That'd be worse. I could.
I can see how that would be worse. Yeah, for sure. Listen, my crown is a collective crown.
Interesting.
Now, what did I say last episode? What was mostly my point?
My name is Adam Wild.
Montreal is going to trade Jeff Petrie.
That was my second mostly point. And we'll just forget about that because it didn't happen.
I think you said the Leafs will beat the Lightning.
Did I say that?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, what I do want to say is this. The Big Four showed up. All of them showed up. And that's what the Leafs need to do to win. There was a lot of people, specifically Mitch Marner fan people, and they are their own subsection, who messaged me and were very upset with me and went about it in various different ways. And I understand. I get it. I understand why you're upset with me. You should have been upset with Mitch, but you were upset with me for calling out Mitch specifically. And let me say this. William Nylander, Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, and John Tavares all got at least a point last night, with Tavares getting 2 goals and Nylander with one of the best goals we've seen in a Leafs jersey this season.
That Nylander goal was so good that it distracted from how friggin' sexy that Tavares backhander was.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that
Oh
was
my
great, too.
God.
But let me tell you this. The Leafs will live and die by the Big Four this season and into the playoffs and in seasons to come. As long as the 4 of them are together, making close to $40 million on the roster, they live and die by how those guys perform.
All 4 of those guys are locked up for the next 4 years.
And all 4 of those guys showed up against a very, very, very good Tampa team. So my crown goes to all 4 of them. You guys deserve it. Thank you for coming and showing exactly why you're getting paid that much. Jesse Blake.
Saturday night, Leafs lose the game to a Zamboni driver who works for them.
Have we talked about that?
I don't think anybody
Did we
has
skip
mentioned
over
it.
that?
Did you watch Colbert?
No.
No,
What
because
happened?
they had a Zamboni driver on. Same guy.
Mm.
It's crazy. Yeah, crazy.
What?
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah,
what a
actually,
small world.
Tim and Sid were like, hey, we should talk some David Ayers. I was like, nope. I was like, I'm going to put that on mute and feed the baby because I don't care to hear that anymore.
Last night on ice surfing, so it was a very busy night. I had a difficult time getting on. And Kevin Bieksa was the co-host instead of Jason York. And I had some tweets. That's my job. Got to come up with some tweets. And I had David Ayers tweets. People were making David Ayers jokes, because Tampa was losing. And, bust out the emergency goalie. And Bieksa just goes, hey, when you get on in another hour and a half, make sure you have something other than emergency backup stuff.
That's brutal.
You can see the exact moment where his heart breaks. Kevin Bieksa, Superman punched my heart.
You should have done the impression that one guy in what was the Bieksa
Vernon
impression?
Fiddler.
Yeah, the Vernon Fiddler impression of Kevin Bieksa.
I haven't seen it.
Jesse, you have to look it up because even
I should have busted that out on deadline
even
day.
Alan Vigneault, who was his coach at the time, is hysterically laughing on the bench.
Yeah. Okay, I guess Bieksa was probably chirping him from the bench, and he just go. Oh, it's awesome.
It is
Vern Fiddler.
so very, very good. Are you looking it up right now?
Yeah, it comes up on Google there. On the
There it
Google
is.
machine.
You're gonna see his.
You should look it up, or you should watch
Yeah,
it.
none of you can
I
see
see
it.
it.
But, those Dallas jerseys suck.
It's on
Yeah.
the
I'm glad
Canucks
they're back to green.
official. It's on the Canucks official YouTube channel. Actually, if you
it
look up
actually?
why Alan Vigneault was laughing, full story.
The
Canucks
Canucks,
TV.
the Canucks do social really well, and their YouTube channel's really good too, and their YouTube community's really good. They have 2 big YouTubers there.
So Saturday night, Leafs lose to a Zamboni driver. Sunday, Mitch Marner's $10 million aren't on the ice. But
10.893.
oh, my bad. Oh. But Mitch Marner, but William Nylander's modest contract is he's out on the ice practicing with
Modest.
that same Zamboni driver.
How does he get by?
Tuesday shows up to the rink in Tampa, Florida. What does he do?
It's where his father used to play.
Where his daddy, who he passed, used to play. Shows up, scores the game-winning goal between his legs. What more can William Nylander do?
I can't wait to find out.
He's
Probably crush a watermelon
What could it
between
be?
his thighs.
He's gonna put up 35 goals, be second leading scorer on the team second leading goal scorer on the team after the guy who's probably gonna end up leading the league in goals.
Maybe.
Amazing season. Keeps killing it. front of the net player.
Yeah,
really,
actually,
really
he is.
Really is. He won't stop scoring goals in front of the net. My crown goes to William
Wow.
Nylander.
And that, you know what? That was a great goal. And it was nice.
And one of the best road goal scorers in the entire league.
All I could do was watch that game, and I forget who was on the broadcast last night, but whoever was on the broadcast last night doing color was just raving about that goal. He's like, oh, let's see that again.
Was
like,
it
that
Millen?
Yeah.
Was it Millen?
I think it was Millen.
And it was like, yes, somebody my dad's age is finally going to tell other people my dad's age that William Nylander did something good.
That's
this is
the
great.
biggest game of the season so far.
Yes.
Like,
Until Thursday.
Until Thursday when
every
they play
game,
Florida.
every game now, I think will be the biggest
Right,
game.
and then
Yeah.
Nylander shows up like that. It's undeniable at this point, at this, what are we, 60 whatever games into the season, that he's
Jesse,
the fucking star,
you
boys.
can deny
Fucking
anything
star.
in this day and age. Now, that's Who Wore the Crown for this week. Brought to you as always by Crown Royal. The next time the puck drops, why not?
How about you? No. You know, you try some new things. Why not?
Next time the puck drops,
Why not?
live generously. And
How about it?
That didn't work.
How about you? I believe is what you said. And treat your release
I
crew
didn't do it.
to a Crown Royal Old Fashioned. Woo! All right, Leafs win. Tavares scores twice. Matthews with his career-high 74th point of the season.
Yep.
Never done that before. Willie with the best damn goal ever, and the broadcasters raving about it. Before we get into the Muzzin stuff, because I know that's sort of the main story now, anything from the game that you want to hit on? Obviously, we talked a little bit about it in the Crown segment. You know, is it we finally got some star players doing star player things. Travis Dermott really stepped up in that third period. Rasmus Sandin really stepped up, even though he was against the goal for Yanni Gordon. He's 19 though. What else do you take away from that game that maybe allows you to trust? Because there were people who were like, hey, do you already have faith in the Leafs again now that they've beaten Tampa? And I said, no. My faith in the team comes when they meet meet whoever in the conference final. I don't have the faith. I'm excited. I'm pumped. I don't have faith. It's different. I've seen them do stuff like this, like last Thursday in Pittsburgh. But what are we going to see this Thursday in Florida? That's my question. What gives you hope, Steve Dangle?
Ooh, what gives me hope? We've been talking about Kyle Clifford's magical powers and how he's going to get the rest of the team to play nastier. And we were talking about Kapanen, who I actually thought, except for the breakaway, was kind of pedestrian, actually, against Tampa. Goat! For God's sake, threw a hit. Threw his body around, and would you look at that, it led to a goal, for God's sake. Actually, so Steven Stamkos did not play in the third, which I didn't even know until after the game. But I had to go back to One Mount Pleasant there at Sportsnet, and we're trying to figure out what happened to Stamkos on his last shift. And he laid 2 hits. One was against Clifford, looked fine, and the other was against Goat, which, you're not as big as Goat. What are you doing? And I thought his leg sort of buckled, and Tampa called it a lower body injury. So Goat was in there having an impact. Clifford whiffed on the puck, which led to a Muzzin goal, so that was great. Sure, he did it on purpose. And Jason Spezza, I would literally vote for him if he ran for office.
He's the best, isn't he?
I love him. I love him so much.
And then after his goal, did they end up crediting him?
No, it's Muzzin.
No, I thought it would have been, but
yeah, they still gave it to Muzzin. And then after his non-goal, they sent him out there with Matthews and Marner.
yeah, which he does like a lot. It's
Yeah.
just you got to sort of look for.
But
it.
it's so weird to have the guy that you bring in as the veteran presence, fourth liner, and now we're nearing the playoffs, and it's like, oh, he's the guy we're going to send out on our top line for energy because he's that damn good.
And the guy who you don't play in all 82 games because he's old. Does he look tired?
No, he does not
Never
look
looks tired.
No.
But
And from what I've heard too, Toronto's the only place he wants to play now.
good.
So
They have him and Thornton next year,
well, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that could be pretty fun.
apparently. But Freddy battled, which when Freddy battles, he's at his best. But one of my main negative takeaways, you look at the Leafs' defensive personnel, it's awful, and you look at it today, and holy shit, like how is that? It's almost player for player what they won the Calder Cup with.
Yeah,
Except for
Just
like
need
Vincent
Laverde. Yeah,
yeah, like and Andrew Nielsen
And Adam Brooks.
and
well, that's not defense.
He's
sorry.
up the middle, damn it. No,
That was on the whole roster.
no,
Yeah,
no. I mean it's getting there, but boy, the forwards really have no idea what they're doing in their own end. And I didn't like last night. Maybe Tampa just did a much better job of exposing them. Sandin was on the ice for all 3 goals, and it seemed clear to me that Tampa was going after him specifically. They look, they say 19-year-old, that's the weak link. And on the first goal, second goal's pretty easy to explain. He got bullied by Patrick Maroon. There's no amount of push-ups he could do that will have him win that net front battle. It's just very large man against not as big boy. That's how that works. But no one had Paquette. He was completely wide open, and that's Tavares, Hyman, and Marner out there who he taxed with shutting down Pasternak, Marchand, Bergeron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did it even get to 7? The first and third goal were Sandin taking on 2 guys with no help. And Liljegren was on for 1. And I'm looking at him going, what's he supposed to do? He's not the Flash. And I'm looking at Hall on the third one going, what's he supposed to do too? They have no forward support. And on the first one, it's Stamkos passing to Kucherov. Those were both Sandin's guy. What's he supposed to do? Like, I wouldn't put any of the 3 goals on Freddy, and I wouldn't put any of them on Sandin either. The Leafs forwards need to figure it the hell out.
Well,
and it's different lines.
That icing especially, because people were like, well, it's Sandin's icing. I mean, it passed through 2 Leafs players.
Right.
That first goal passed through Engvall, and I forget the other guy. Was it Morgan?
Kerfoot.
Oh, it was Kerfoot.
Yeah.
It's like, and you look at them, and it's like, why did you let that go? Like, you should have had that puck.
He
It was-
literally lifted up his skate and it
Yeah.
went just right on by.
It was weird, and so I have a hard time blaming him for that. And you know, I wonder about the
I didn't even bring it up in the LFR.
no, because it's not worth it. It was a silly sort of line. You know, it just
I
happened.
mean, you can ice the puck and still stop it.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
it's not an automatic goal.
exactly.
If you're doing your job,
Yeah.
you know.
So, so you're positive about that game, but then going into Florida, and I wonder about this too because Florida's on Thursday, right?
Yeah, they had a big
Tomorrow.
win against Arizona. Arizona fans losing their mind last night. I don't think home ice. I don't think there was a single Florida penalty.
Ooh.
They were losing their minds. Yeah.
Edmonton's not thrilled about the officiating too, but we'll get to that later in the show.
I think it was Elliot Friedman said he was surprised there wasn't a homicide after the game because Rick Tocchet, right?
The
Yeah.
penalties have been wonky this season because the Islanders might set the record for most games without a penalty called against them. They're at like 6 right now, and the record's 9.
Holy shit.
Yeah, Friedman was mentioning in 31 Thoughts. So I don't know what's going on with the penalties this year, but they're either calling a whole bunch or they're not calling any.
They're just.
And it's not like the Islanders are a soft team, you know?
The league, in terms of officiating, is going backward.
Yeah.
It's go. Wait, sorry. Penalties called against them or in their favor?
Against them. So like on them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Weird.
I don't mind. I don't mind the fact that certain teams don't have penalties called on them throughout a game because if they didn't do anything to warrant it, that's fine.
Sure.
But call the things that are penalties and don't try to even them out.
What are the
like
odds
if
an
you
NHL
call?
team's going to go 60 minutes without doing something?
Well, yeah, true. But if you call 2 penalties on Steve and then you call one on me just to even it out because it's fairsies,
Yeah.
that's stupid. I think that's ridiculous. However, if you're,
No, sports are fairsies.
Yeah,
That's how you,
well-
that's how you play sports.
if you saw Tavares get like there was I forget who it was, but like somebody pushed
I
him
think
and
it
then
was 19
pushed
on
him again.
Tampa. Yeah.
And then he like swung his stick at the end because it was like, dude, what the hell?
And
Right.
The ref's right there.
I wish the clip was zoomed in on the ref's face because I bet every dollar I have that he said, watch the stick. After all that, Tavares takes this little swipe. Hey, watch the stick.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Like looking
100%.
right at it. And this is why. So I was saying I don't think it's that the refs are bad. Refs saw it. The directive is don't call anything. The sport's going backwards. And this is so bad for the Leafs. It's not just that it's ramping up to the playoffs and then in the playoffs it's more violent. It's they bet the farm on the sport going a certain way. And the people in charge at the NHL went and slammed the brakes on that and they're going back. So what do? You get Kyle Clifford, I guess. But like, what do you do? The Leafs bet everything on the sport going in a certain direction, and it's not anymore. Because like they just changed midstream.
Well, and it's not that it's going back to like fighting or something like that. It's just that you're allowed to get away with
no, but
stick
it's
things.
going to.
You think so?
I think fighting's going to make a comeback. Yep.
No.
way.
I do.
The NHL can't.
They let
dude,
this
they
shit
can't.
keep going. It's good. Jean-Gabriel Pajot got in a fight last night. Like, come on.
In his first game?
Yeah, it was awesome,
And
actually.
I didn't-
That was a great game.
I didn't see it.
No,
but-
That's
Islanders,
$35
Rangers.
million on Gabriel Pajot to you. So, wow.
You know what they always say about Lou? Stingy.
Yeah, right? He signs great contracts. Anyway,
He'd
listen.
be a good... I would love to have him as my team president. I don't want him making any on-ice decisions.
I just want him to be I want him to be the player police force. I don't want him to run anything. I just want him to be there to be like, oh, are you thinking about doing something bad tonight?
Yeah.
Well, you won't.
Can we create Team Dad?
Yeah, Team
Can
Dad.
it be Team Dad
Team-
to sit on the bench and
Team Dad that
Yeah.
that it's proud of you occasionally, but most of the time just looks at you like, nah, I don't trust you. I like it. That's what I like.
great's not good enough.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. That's the kind of Team Dad I'm after.
Great's not good enough.
That's right.
With
I want
Lou.
you to be questioning everything. But in all honesty, the Leafs without Muzzin on the back end are not going to look great.
And he's been so unbelievable, too.
Yeah.
Like, he's hit another gear.
I mean, well, he had 8 points, I believe, in 3 games or
Did
something
he?
like that. I think was it 8 points in 3 games? 5 games. 6. No, he was on like a 5-game point streak.
He's doing good.
And then he was on a 6-game point streak because he scored again last night. So he's a 6-game point streak for Jake Muzzin.
Yeah, and that's offense. Like, he's holding it down on the other
Oh,
end,
yeah.
too, and
Yeah.
friggin' out a month.
Right up until this injury, though, Toronto had, and I don't think Toronto fans feel this way, but if you actually look at the number of man games lost, a very manageable injury load. It's, unfortunately for this team, first off, we're not used to major injuries to major players because the team's quite young. And we've been lucky that, the most we lost Matthews ever for was like a month last year, which was big, but not that big.
Well, and they did pretty well during it.
Right. So you almost don't remember it.
And
You
it
lost-
wasn't through a crucial stretch either. It
No, it was the beginning of the
mid-season,
season. Yeah. And then, Mitch Marner at the beginning of this season, Tavares for a bit at the beginning of this season. It's felt like star players or big players. And unfortunately with the Leafs, if Morgan Riley goes down, it's like Tavares and Marner going down. There's just because there's less talent back there, it's far more amplified when Morgan Riley goes down and then when Jake Muzzin goes down.
Tweet for you. From Man Games Lost NHL. This was tweeted February 21st as well, so it's not even up to date.
Yep.
NHL top 5 teams, impact of man games lost by average time on ice of skaters lost. Number 1, Pittsburgh. No shock. Number 2, Columbus. I mean, Eunice Corpusalo, Seth Jones, pretty bad. Detroit. Well, they're not really trying to do anything, are they? Number 5, Chicago. Number 4, the Leafs. So if it feels like it, like yesterday I tweeted, throw this season in the garbage, and everyone's like, what's the matter? What's the matter is
Why-
no one's in the lineup.
Why did you tweet that?
Yeah, why did you do
That's
that?
not true.
To throw the season in the garbage?
Yeah.
I tweeted it after they announced Muzzin was out for a month.
Okay, but still.
No, I didn't mean stop trying for the Leafs. I meant I was angry at the way the season has gone.
All right, calm down a little.
Listen.
You may have
very
gone a bit overboard on that one, I think.
Never.
Maybe.
Me, never.
Maybe.
Never.
Throw the season in the garbage.
Throw it in the garbage.
So yeah. So okay. So it's been a little bit hectic on the injury front. There's still no excuse. The teams you named there, Columbus is in the hunt, Pittsburgh's in it, Detroit is definitely not in it. Who was the other team?
Chicago.
Chicago's definitely not
they
in it.
were
But
in
we
it for a very long time.
Oh, whatever. We knew Chicago wasn't going to be in it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Stan
But-
Bowman is literally losing his mind. I don't know what his deal is, but the fact is we're not used to major injuries here in Toronto in the last 3.5 years. We just haven't had many. So it's amplified when it's 2 defensemen, and it's the 2 best defensemen, frankly. So what do your lineups for the Leafs defense look like?
Oh, that's fun.
What are the
So,
pairings?
I did this, and I was so close. My top pair is Dermott Hall,
Okay.
which used to be a pair for the Leafs. I mean, granted, third pair during injuries, but now it's the top pair. My second pair is Sandine Barrie. My third pair is Rosen Liljegren.
And why that one?
Why Rosen? Oh, because they played together in the AHL.
Now,
So-
before they actually came out, I was like, Steve's dreaming. But anyway, We'll get into that in a second. Before they even came out. But,
So Marinchin's being hopped by everybody?
Marinchin is actually in for Rosen. So Rosen is the seventh.
I was bang on except Rosen for Marinchin.
Okay.
And I was like, Steve. And I saw that tweet. I was like, Steve, if you think Marinchin, mid-January contract Marinchin, extension man, extension Marinchin,
Penalty killer.
is not coming back for a minimum 85% of the games without Muzzin, Barrie, and Riley in the Muzzin, CC, Riley in the lineup, you are dreaming. Now, I'm not saying that Steve's wrong. I think you're wrong about. I think the Leafs are wrong about the faith they have in Martin Marincin.
They need a penalty.
I think
killer.
you were wrong. No, do they need a penalty killer?
Yeah.
Callie Rosen's played like 11 NHL games. You know, he's not a proven commodity.
It doesn't mean Marincin should have played more than 11 NHL games, guys. I'm
Whoa.
sorry.
on.
Just because he has played doesn't mean he should play. Listen. I was a guy that was like, give him a chance, give him a chance, give him a chance, and every time they put him out there, I'm in the field position on my couch.
Oh, dude, 2 years ago, I was like, no, stop.
Because he was great at the AHL level, and you're like, what is it, man? Why is it that when you get the puck, it's like, I sure hope he can throw that grenade far enough. I don't know. Like he doesn't even Roman Polak blast it around the boards. He just loses it. It's gone.
Marincin has earned the right to lose that job. I think you give it to him, and if he fails miserably, then you pull the plug. But he's earned the right to slip into this lineup now that everybody's injured, and just give it the old college try.
Jesse is literally, here's literally what Jesse's saying.
Literally.
Marincin has earned the right to lose his job of ninth defenseman
Exactly.
on the Leafs. Ninth. Literally ninth. Because Cece's out, Riley's out, Muzzin's out. Ninth.
Marincin's played 222 games in the NHL.
Yeah, he's been around.
Wow.
That's a long
Remember all
time.
his days
for
at
him.
Edmonton? That's a thing.
He didn't play much at Edmonton, did he?
No, he played 80 games over 2 seasons.
He played 2 half seasons.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
And then 65 with the Leafs in 15-16.
Yeah, on the top pair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when Connor Carrick was playing top 4 minutes, I think.
Let him go out there and be Marincin.
That pairing, that Liljegren Marincin pairing is getting like 5 minutes a night. You guys know that, right?
Sure.
Like, and I gotta say, Liljegren impressed me last night. There was one play.
I liked him.
First period.
I did.
Did you see him blast in and move and get a shot on Vasilevsky? There was like,
That's all confidence, right? Like,
yeah, it was like,
he
oh,
needs-
that's what I want to see. That was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That was great. And I think if they continue to warm him up and move him into the lineup, keep it at 6 or 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes towards the playoffs, you can have him playing 10 or 11 minutes. That is all you need.
I think
That's
if
all you need.
Marincin had like one of those relaxation teas before each game, his performance would go up 50%.
He's very, very good. His passes are crisp and on the tape, and they're great.
Denying entries and everything. When he has the puck in his own end, it's like he's standing on a paint shaker. Like, and he just throws it randomly everywhere. They could give him a ringette stick, a goalie stick, a shovel, and it would be the same result.
Have you seen toddlers learning to try to catch?
No.
That's what Martin Marincin is with the puck in his own zone.
What, it just hits.
Like you have it. Oh, it fell out. Oh, it fell out.
Those must be adorable videos.
Hey, listen, it's adorable for the other team. I think Callie Rosen's going to draw in, and Callie Rosen's going to do a better job.
We don't know that.
That's what I think.
See, I don't remember if they had him killing penalties.
With who? The Marlies?
Do they need it? They do need it.
On the Marlies.
Like in the minors. That's the only place he's played is in the minors.
Exactly. At least that one guy's been on the first pairing. You let him lose the job or get it. One or the other. Give him a shot.
Here, help me out here. So, who are the Leafs? The Leafs need 4 penalty-killing defensemen. Who are they? Dermott?
Mm-hmm.
They've had Sandin sparingly.
Mm-hmm.
Barrie? Nope.
No, well, you might as well have Sandin in there because he's anchoring the second power play, and that's never getting on the ice.
Hall.
Yeah.
And Liljegren, I think, has gotten out there a couple times. That's your 4?
And
there's no good combination
okay,
of
but
4.
what I like about Rosen is he's a good skater.
He is a good skater.
And why isn't that the whole point of a penalty kill? From what I understand, and from my limited hockey knowledge, and again, I was told in my DMs, which I'm not sure why I have open anymore, to be honest with you.
You should stop that, like I've been saying for a long time.
I had several people go, listen, I disagree with everything that you say, and today is no different. But clearly you never played competitive hockey. F you. F you with that argument.
Listen, played the game.
The point is...
That doesn't even matter. You can have an opinion on hockey even if you've never played.
Yeah, it's not F you. It's not really F you. It's F that argument.
Yeah.
But in all honesty,
I'll say F you.
What I want to say is that, and I'm saying this, jokingly, but what matters on a penalty kill is quickness. Paul Kariya was never the fastest player in the NHL. He was the quickest. It's acceleration. It's 1, 2, 3. Your first 3 strides are what matter. And I can guarantee you that even though Martin Marinchin's legs could probably reach over Calle Rosen's forehead, I can bet that Calle Rosen could beat him to the blue line or beat him in the first 3 strides. I bet.
So with Paul Kariya, you're talking about a forward. Like, do you not need one guy who's just like, get the fuck out of the crease? Like,
is Marinchin that guy?
No.
He's the Frederick Gauthier of defensemen.
This is the big problem.
He's huge, and I've got this gigantic body. Am I going to use it? Nope.
This is the big problem, and can I say something that I never thought I'd say? This is where the Leafs miss Cody Ceci.
No.
Is Cody Ceci big?
Yeah, he's big-ish. He's not...
You know what's the best
strong
thing?
in his feet or anything, but like he can sort of let you know he's around.
The best thing about Cody Ceci is that he's going to be healthy by the playoffs, and he's going right back into the lineup.
If there's anything I want, it's a cold Cody Ceci.
Exactly,
ice cold.
No, but he's going to I think it's second last week of the season. Him and Riley are both projected.
Yeah,
and then now Muzzin's like kind of last game-ish first round of playoffs. So
see, here's a tough thing for the Muzzin comeback tour is, and I've had my eye on this for literally months. The Leafs' second last regular season game is their first game against the Red Wings since Muzzin knocked out Mantha. Someone is going to do something really, really stupid that night. I feel it in my bones.
Against
Dude, he punctured his lung, and I don't know if Mantha's played since. Someone's going to do something very stupid that night.
Is Steve fear-mongering right now?
Yeah, I think he is.
What do the Red Wings
Steve
have
is
to play
the Rush
for?
Limbaugh of the Red Wings-Leafs game on game 82.
Listen, all right?
What is the water
The
doing
liberal media.
What's the water doing to the frogs?
It's listen. It's turning the friggin' Frogs into a tanking team that's going for Lafreniere. Who? Lafreniere.
Also, I want to shout out.
He's still a thing that exists.
I want to shout out the entire play where and it starts with signing the contract with Zach Bogosian, and then Zach Bogosian taking the ice in Tampa Bay, and then firing a puck directly into Yanni Gord's penis.
No, it's Braden Point.
Oh, Braden Point's penis.
Braden Point's
Who tweeted
penis.
this? Who tweeted this today? It was so funny. Oh my god!
Are we both looking up the same tweet?
Yes, we are, and it's like, do you remember? Do you remember when?
No, that's not what I was talking about.
Oh my god, I can't find it.
Suicide Pass.
No, what do you say?
Suicide Pass tweeted, fun fact, BOGO, the BOGO nickname stands for Burst Our Gonads Open.
What?
Which made me actually gag on the train down here.
Juno the Leafs. Remember when the Bolts acquired Zach Bogosian and he immediately fired a puck into Braden Point's penis? I remember. He hit Braden in his point.
Hey, there we go. There it is.
By the way, you know what's hilarious? And we'll get to trade deadline stuff, but all the Zach Bogosian stuff out of Buffalo, because everybody, including our favorite Mike Harrington, were like, "What? Did they not turn on Game Center to watch a Buffalo game?" No, but they were basically saying that, Tampa, good depth pickup, and he's like, "I don't know what they're talking about. He's not a good depth pickup," and I'm like,
who said this? Harrington?
This is Harrington, yeah.
He's free. That was my argument.
Right.
He's free, and also, he's a body, and I also
literally just see if it works and scratch him if it doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
The Leafs are on defenseman number 9. You can't have too many bodies.
Right, and we're not
They
even
could
in
probably
the
use
first
Zach
round. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I think they withdrew their offer to him after the Carolina game, though. That was what I heard. They switched. They switched gears after that, and they said, "No, we're not doing that.
We're not doing anything for anybody." Except for Calle
Screw
Rosen.
you guys. Figure it out. And
You lost to a Zamboni driver.
Yeah. Now let me think. I want to go positive with the Leafs for a moment here, for a second.
Why? No, I'm kidding. Go.
The Leafs' likelihood to make the playoffs right now is 75%. And that's because mostly they only have to fight off the Panthers. Now, assuming they can do that, they have a good shot at making the playoffs. That's pretty good. 75%, not bad.
Those models piss me off, though, because the Leafs lose to Florida tomorrow.
It's 62%.
It's 42.
Yeah.
Like,
They lose 10 games. Oh, it's 50. You
Yeah,
know, it doesn't make
50.
sense.
It'd be like down to 2. And
Yeah.
then, but you look at the spread. Yeah, those models are annoying because it's sort of like the percentages change so rapidly.
Money
Yeah.
Puck had 67%,
Okay.
I think. And this was before Florida won, and Muzzin was announced being out for a month.
Right.
So I got to imagine that model is less.
And the percentages only stick during the 16 hours of the day when there's no games.
Right.
Because as soon as more games happen, then all the percentages.
Yeah, there's got to be a better way to calculate
Team
this.
goes
but anyway.
up 1-0. Like,
Listen, I'm just throwing this at you. 75% is what I read. And let's say, so the Leafs make the playoffs. And let's say Martin Marincin draws out, Calle Rosen draws in, steps in, plays solid bottom pairing minutes. Guys, does it then not mean that Michael Hutchinson saved the Leafs season with his play earlier this season?
Adam, I saw that white-hot volcanic take today, and I have to say, bravo.
Thank you.
You're absolutely right.
Thank you.
You're absolutely damn right.
By Michael Hutchinson being bad, the Leafs ended up with a better Jack Campbell, frankly.
Oh, yeah.
And they got Calle Rosen back, who could potentially save their season by just being a guy who played more than 11 games in the NHL.
By existing.
By existing.
Being there. Speaking of Jack Campbell, we went from talking about him being the starter to forgetting he exists very quickly.
Well, because Freddy started.
Right.
Well, also David Ayers sort of took the airs out of that.
Hey.
But I think when we do see Jack Campbell again, he'll come in and do great. But what I do like about Jack Campbell is not only is he the warm blanket when he's in the net, he's the warm blanket when he's not.
Isn't he?
That guy pats everybody on the butt.
Oh.
He is and I mean that in the best way. I don't mean it in the Pierre Maguire, that was super weird when we saw that in the playoffs way. I meant that in the he's one of the best team cheerleaders out there. And what did you say back in the day, Steve? This is pre-Jesse Blake on this podcast. Okay.
Wow.
We're going way back.
So like
PJB.
2013. Whoa.
PJB. PJ Bizzle.
Peanut jam butter. Anyway.
This would have happened probably in the first 10 episodes of this show ever.
Wow.
Steve said something about a goaltending tandem that the Leafs did have at that point. The goaltending tandem at that point was Ben Scrivens and James Reimer.
Hell yeah.
And what did you say that Ben Scrivens did for James Reimer?
He put him in his happy place. Didn't I say that?
You did. And then they
How do you guys remember
They
this?
promptly trade. I remember it was one of the first takes that sort of like hit me. I was like, whoa. Like it stuck with me.
Well,
And there-
because
It must have.
the Bernier Reimer was
'Cause here's-
awkward from the first day.
What happened was the Leafs had a clear starter in James Reimer who dragged them to the playoffs. He had a bad third period in which the Leafs were awful defensively against Boston, and all of a sudden it was his fault. And like Glenn Healy back then between the benches, and then Dave Nonis, who was horrendous at evaluating goaltending talent anyway.
And most things.
And then he traded. So they traded Matt Frat Sanity Fratton to and Ben Scrivens to LA with I think a first round pick for, was it a first or second?
It was Bernier. Sorry, no, it was Scrivens, Frat Sanity, and a second.
That's right, for Bernier. And Bernier was unproven at this point. So this is the second time we've traded for
He was
an LA backup.
who was going to be
Jonathan
better
Quick.
than Patrick Waugh.
And he was small and quick, but small. And that's part of the problem in the NHL is you got to sort of be big. And
But he
big-
wasn't quick. That's why he got traded.
Hey.
They wanted him to be, and then they immediately, Jesse, signed him to a $4.5 million contract over 2 years. Immediately. And so
remember.
what happened was, it was like, oh, they're going to have some it's pretty good to have healthy competition. And what happened? They had worse goaltending the year before, and they couldn't find a starter. Both of the guys were not good enough to be the starter, but they
Reimer
had a
fell
guy.
off. Reimer fell off hard and battled injuries.
Right.
He was susceptible to traumatic blows to the head.
That's right. That's right.
My
He was injured
favorite line
very
in
quickly.
hockey ever from Dean McCammond. Yeah. Do you think you're prone to concussions? No, I think I'm prone to traumatic blows to the head.
So what happened was that there was an equilibrium that was thrown off. Something that worked the previous season with James Reimer when he stood on his head. And you can go back and look at all the numbers. The numbers show you exactly what happened. It was James Reimer and his merry men. And you're talking about
that was a shortened season.
That
right?
was the shortened season.
Year with
Yeah.
The top pair was Mike Koska and Dion Phaneuf.
Right.
Now, when you look at the way the Leafs are now, Freddie Anderson needs to be Freddie Anderson from last night every game. In fact, he probably needs to be better than he was last night.
Freddie Anderson from last year.
Last
is what
year.
we need, right?
But if there's a guy that's going to put him in that position, not challenge for the starting job, but encourage him and everybody else to be in a good mood and be better, is Jack Campbell. And I like that. That's what you need in your backup goalie. So I'm so glad that he's there. And you do see it on the bench. You know, every once in a while a forward will get off and he'll be sitting next to Jack Campbell and you get a pat on the back or something like that. You'll just see the glove swing. It's like, good, thank you. That's great. We like that. And I hope we get more of that, and I think we need that. Now,
they need to be, we've said, like...
It's a great point.
Do they look like they like playing with each other? Do they look like they enjoy hockey right now?
Yeah.
Any kind of positive influence whatsoever.
We especially talk about that with the forward group.
People had a serious issue, just so you guys know, serious issue with my take that the Leafs might not like each other. Well, you brought it up.
No, that was me.
But I said that I backed you up and I said the Beatles hated each other, especially towards the end. Their best album.
Oh, that one guy.
Oh, well, no. You should have seen my DMs. And it's funny. If you look back at, like, Kobe and Shaq hated each other.
Like, publicly.
Yeah, there are people, guys. I don't know if you know this, and I know that this sort of breaks the fantasy. But if you think that 20 guys flying on an airplane all the time are going to get along all the time, and that there aren't certain subsections like there were in your high school class,
oh yeah,
you're crazy. You're out of your mind. You're asking too much. And so people, merely the suggestion, when I backed you on that the Leafs might not like each other necessarily all the time. They might hate each other. Some people on that team might hate each other. That's possible.
Yes.
And you may never find out about it.
Why
ever.
is that a shock to people?
Because I think
that somebody you work with you might not like.
In your fantasy world, and I get it, sports are fantasy. That's all this is. This is entertainment, man. This is supposed to be fun. It's not always fun, but it's supposed to be.
Super happy funsies.
You want everybody to get along because in your fantasy, the narrative you have in your head, hey, I'm in the NHL and I'm making lots of money and we can get along. Everybody thinks like I do. Well, no, they don't. They have different backgrounds. They think different things. They like different music. They have different opinions. And they have different levels of preparation for games and different executions. I don't know if you've been in an office setting when somebody's not pulling their weight and everybody else is. Boy, that makes them a popular
What'd
person.
you look at me for?
No, not you.
What'd you look at me for?
No, you're doing great.
You're
doing great. You're doing so much better than you used to.
Wow.
That was passive aggressive. That was good. No, but and that's not true. Steve's never not brought it. But
yeah.
the point I'm trying to make here is, guys, it's not impossible that these guys don't necessarily always like each other. And in fact, it is very possible that there is some capital H hate. That's possible. That's possible on the best teams. People are like, oh yeah, well, Joel Quenneville and Stan Bowman didn't like each other. Sure worked out well. And you assume that the players wouldn't be like that too?
And or even something like, I've done this before where someone wants to talk to me, but I'm mad at them, but I know I'm going to forgive them. I'm just like, not right now.
Yeah, that's possible.
Come back to me in 3 days. In 3 days, I act like nothing ever happened.
Yep.
But it's just not right now. I don't want to hear you. But do you really get to do that on a hockey team?
No, you don't.
No.
You don't get away.
On the bus, at the rink, in the locker room. Huh? Get out of my face!
There are even simple things like language barriers that are just going to create cliques.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, the guys from similar countries and speak the same language are going to hang out together.
I think the Swedish guys are going to hang out.
Right.
It's weird, right?
It's weird, but
the Russians are going to hang
don't
out.
Make that simple connection. Like, hey, maybe this is just like everyday life
And
where not everybody gets along.
By the way, that's okay.
Right.
Totally
that is
fine.
okay.
It's normal. It's normal.
And so I just want to throw that out there for everybody who had an issue with my take on that. And there were many of you. You're wrong.
I will say this. And first of all, Adam is right.
Sorry.
Adam is often right. There's so many times where someone will be like, I disagree with Adam. And I'm like, I said that.
Yeah, people do often get your takes confused.
Yes.
Yeah.
We look so similar.
No, you disagree with me. And screw you.
And by the way, I was right too.
Yeah, I was right.
By the way, none of this, by the way, do we ever take personally. So please feel free to message it. We don't.
I do.
I don't.
We just
I don't.
preface this by saying sports is fantasy and it's entertainment and it's
Yeah,
fun and
yeah.
this is all supposed to be fun.
Listen, I'm just throwing it out there.
Come on.
I will say this. At the beginning of the season, it did not look like Mitch was having a fun time.
No, it did not.
He was having a horrible, horrible time.
He makes too much money.
Maybe.
In fact, if you were to write down a list of the things that he did not like at the beginning of the season and show it to other players. No, I'm sorry. Anyway.
That took me a second.
I was wondering when you guys would catch
So
up.
he was having a bad time, and he got hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then
that
he-
sucks.
And he gets brought in as team puppy when Babcock gets fired.
Yeah,
He literally got brought in as
he
team
was
puppy.
the team therapist,
Yeah.
that poor guy.
Yeah. And that whole thing breaks. And then he comes back to the lineup, and slowly but surely, holy shit, look at Mitch go.
He's had some rough patches.
It just seems like he's lost that again.
Yeah.
He looks miserable again.
Didn't look
And-
too bad last night, though. Looked like he
That's
got it back a
okay.
little bit.
There were some defensive lapses I noticed,
Yeah.
especially on the like
The
on
second
the
goal?
on the penalty on the power play when the one power play where Tampa had the two shorthanded breaks. Do you remember
Oh,
that? And
that was-
Mitch was the other forward back, and he made a just terrible play on the puck. Like he just went for it. And
There's a couple
they passed
things-
around him. It was
Sometimes it's
awkward.
between the ears, right? It's
Yeah.
such a chaotic game that you can see that. And listen, I'm the one being kindest to Mitch, and I was the hardest on him last episode. I was genuinely impressed.
He's
Based on
making-
how bad the Saturday game was, the step up was phenomenal.
Here's the reality of the world. He's making people who are going to be hard on you money.
Yes,
You wanted it, you got it. Like this is it.
you're right.
And
is
the
it.
way the team is constructed, if you're going to move out any big contracts, he's the most logical one to move.
Yeah.
It makes the most sense to move your $10 million winger as opposed to your star centers.
Pills that are hard to swallow meme. Like
Yeah, and
that's just logic.
And
Yes,
also,
sorry.
it is easier to get those assists back than it would be to get William Nylander's goals back.
Goals pay more.
yeah, I will say, listen, none of us are enthused about trading Mitch Marner.
No!
None of it. What I want is
I
for
want them to
him-
win!
I want him to
Please win!
win
Every year.
But you know what'll help them win is him refinding his happy place.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, maybe it's
Well, and
maybe I'm reading too much into
I bet
it.
I
don't
guarantee
know.
I guarantee you we get at least one story next training camp. Where Mitch Marner talks about, man, that contract really messed with my head, and you almost always see it when they
Oh.
get a second big
Locker
contract.
cleanup.
100%. You're gonna see somebody say, "Listen, Mitch Marner had a really tough time because he came back after a pretty contentious negotiation, and it messed with his head." And it did with William Nylander clearly. Plus, he held out. And I think. You know, you saw it with Johnny Gaudreau a couple years ago, too, and Sean Monahan. Remember, they both signed big contracts and then
Yeah.
came out and in the first couple months. It's like,
Gaudreau especially, yeah.
yeah, that happens. And that's like that part of it is a psychological part of the game.
And something Jesse just said, I don't know if Gaudreau struggled more than Monahan. I do know he was making more.
Yeah.
Right.
Which means he's struggling more. If they could have the exact same amount of points in the exact same amount of games, Gaudreau's struggling more.
Percentage
He
of
makes
money
more.
to performance.
That's how it works.
Right.
That's how it works.
And
Who makes more? Okay, you score more. Who makes more? You're supposed to play better. That's
yeah. And hey, listen,
how it works.
if you want people to stop talking about the money that these guys make and putting pressure on them, if that's what you want, you're worried about their psyche about that, that's great. Get rid of the salary cap.
the whole damn season
Yeah.
has revolved around their salary cap situation.
Right.
Like,
Get
it
rid of
is
the
a
salary
thing.
cap.
We
If-
can't ignore it.
If you don't want to focus on that, then get rid of it.
That's the main narrative of the Leafs in
It's the
2020.
narrative of the league.
That's true, yeah.
It's teams that can afford to reach the bottom, and it's teams that are just fighting within 20 grand of hitting the top.
If Florida's going to cut, what is it, $10 million in salary by next season is their goal?
Is that
What?
ownership giving a big old middle finger to
That's-
Dale Talon, by the way? Because why are they cutting exactly what Sergei Bobrovsky makes?
Right.
Like,
that's
that's tough. That is tough.
Dale Talon makes odd moves. One day we're going to do a deep dive on Dale Talon's career.
Oh,
Because it's
yeah.
odd.
I imagine if I did a trade tree on just everything he ever did, it would look like a brain.
You can
in
do a book on
galaxy.
that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Dale Talon, what you thinking? By Steve Dangle.
Jesse, what were you going to say?
No, that was the.
Oh, that was it? Okay, I thought you were going to say
yeah.
something there.
Would you switch up the top six?
With the Leafs?
Yeah.
Well, as it's currently constructed, how? Because let's go through that.
Yeah, so Hyman, Matthews, Marner. Nylander on the left, I think. Tavares, Malgin. Which it's weird to me that he doesn't look bad, but like that Malgin was just sort of hot potato. Just
I think he's a seat filler on
thrown
that
in
one.
there.
I think he's a seat filler. And I think they're trying Willie on the left side because they have the ability to do that. He wanted to try that.
Yeah.
It
makes more sense passing wise,
yes,
just because he's open to the ice when he's on that left side.
And also, and I don't know when this is going to happen or how realistic it is, because I keep thinking the Leafs have this weird. We keep when Ceci comes back, when Riley comes back, when Muzzin gets back. Mikheyev is a really big factor on this team. He was playing so well, and he's a left-handed guy who I think was playing on the right.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, Willie's right wing, Mitch's right wing, Cappy's right wing. You're going to put Mikheyev on the fourth line? That seems like a waste. Willie moves over to the left and does well. All of a sudden, Mikheyev slots in there.
I think that's what they're doing.
Ooh.
I think they're warming up. I mean, he's been on the ice.
Real nice.
He's on the ice every day doing shoot-arounds.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's going to be tough because you're ready when you're ready. But, he didn't shoot a ton to begin with. So, I don't know.
Don't force him back.
No, I'm not going to force him back. But
I think what you get
with
Mikheyev
a fully healthy
for
lineup, I think this situation helps.
I don't think Mikheyev's shot is anything more than a bit of a muffin anyway. I think it's Mikheyev's shot. It's can he shoot the puck and handle the puck? That's great.
Yes.
More importantly, can his forearm withstand slashes to the forearm? That's really what needs to be healthy,
Is his forearm strong enough to poke the puck loose?
Yes.
He's a long body and
defensively responsible.
Really good skater.
Yep.
Yes. And one of the things that the Leafs immediately lost when they lost him was a really good defensively responsible forward who always got back to the point.
Mm-hmm.
Always got back to the point. It was awesome. And it allowed... I wonder what the defensive points are like since his injury.
That's a good question.
I wonder if it's gone down. Because it always felt like the defense were involved in the play when Mikheyev was on the ice. Anyway, I'm saying all that because I just feel like...
I think they're doing this Nylander thing because they're waiting for Mikheyev to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that's a month and a half. Like, I just want... I want Mitch to get going. Mm-hmm. And, I don't mean an assist. Listen, Mitch in a slump is still going to do better than...
99%
on a down season, it looks like first career is going to throw up 70 assists.
Yeah,
in his sleep.
So many people are going to hear what we're saying and be like, but he's being paid money. It doesn't matter.
Mitch Marner's getting paid 100-point-a-season money, though.
If
he gets 85, it's a letdown.
It's unrealistic, but I want to see a crazy breakout performance like the Carolina game.
Dominate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dominate and look like a child on Christmas morning. I miss Mitch's smile, man.
Yeah.
I miss him.
Well,
you know what I mean?
You took it away last episode. Did you know that?
I know.
You are responsible for Mitch Marner feeling bad about himself, and I just hope you can live with yourself.
I don't know. Maybe.
No, not maybe. Definitely.
Definitely.
Again, according to my DMs.
Definitely.
Are you going to close those?
I think I might.
Sounds like you really like them.
No, you know what? Honestly,
it sounds like a bad time.
No, it sounds no. You know what? Maybe I won't. Here's the reason I'm thinking I might keep them open. The reason is it's good to hear opinions that are far and away different from yours.
Sure.
And I think it's good to be challenged.
You don't need open DMs for those.
Well, yeah, that's true. I think.
How about unsolicited take? How about unsolicited this and that?
The occasional unsolicited personal attack stuff too is like whatever. I can roll that off my back. I don't care. I think the thing is that there were a lot of people last episode, unquestionably, who, especially with Mitch Marner because he is so beloved, who hurt for Mitch Marner. And I respect that.
Totally.
I respect.
I get that.
I get
it's
it.
called being a fan.
But
you think
none
I
of
don't
the criticism
get hurting for a player?
No, none of the
James
criticism
Reimer.
leveled at Mitch Marner, I don't believe, was unfair. I don't believe any of what we said was unfair about any of those guys.
Have the stakes ever been higher?
They haven't. But
No,
they're,
that's
but
the
they're
thing,
making
right?
high stakes money,
Yeah.
baby. You're at the game.
And we
You're at
have
the poker
Stanley
table.
Cup expectations from now until this window closes.
Yeah.
It's not
Right
like
now
he's the
it's
only
wide
one.
open.
No,
It's not
exactly.
like he's the only one. Like Austin's not really getting it, but I think people would feel stupid
If
on account of he's
you
leading the league.
score 60 goals in a season, how are you supposed to criticize?
What else
the
is he
guy?
Tavares
supposed
is
to
getting
do?
it. Tavares is getting it.
Well, and that brings me to my next thing. Okay. So I got a message from you. You bring up Tavares. Now there are some questionable takes on sports radio in this town. There's no question.
Mm-hmm.
And
Never
the
heard
fact that this was even a conversation for me is sort of odd. But I understand why, from an entertainment perspective, you would have it. Okay?
Oh,
So this is from Krosic on Instagram, and he sent me a message. Said, "Hey Adam, Brian Hayes and Craig Button on Overdrive are questioning if Tavares was the right choice to be Leafs captain as opposed to Morgan Riley. I'm curious to know what you guys felt about it when it happened, and if your opinion has changed since.
Riley's not in the
If it
lineup.
wasn't for Babcock, would John Tavares be captain? Bingo, you nailed it. Riley's not in the lineup, so Riley can't look bad. But I don't know if you remember this. Morgan Riley did not look good. And then he got even more injured.
Well, yeah, and Babcock was
hurt.
playing him half an hour a game.
Yeah.
Right.
I think Keefe did it too. But that's a silly question to ask. Like if Tavares being named captain was a Babcock
But
thing.
you can understand on a radio show why you would ask it. Because you're going to engage people. Everybody's going to have an opinion. That's why you bring it up. Because it's polarizing. Yes or no.
Yeah,
and I feel this way because of this.
Facts tend to kill compelling radio because
Yes.
I'd be a terrible co-host for that show because I'd be like, Morgan Riley is literally the only player Mike Babcock thanked on his way out.
Bingo.
All right.
And they're like,
Literally the only one.
but to answer
He
his
thanked
question,
the guy who wasn't even there anymore. He thanked Louis. He didn't thank Kyle.
to answer the question, which I said we would.
Because he fired him.
Because I think it's a fair question, and I like getting questions like this. How did you feel, all of you, well, both of you, and then me? How did you feel when John Tavares was named captain? Go, Jesse.
It was the right decision, especially at the time, because we were thinking it was Matthews or Tavares, and then Matthews came out and said, I did these illegal things, and I didn't tell my GM or coach or anybody. I tried to cover it up, and we're like, all right, so it's Tavares.
By the way,
and then,
Chris Johnson was bound and determined that it was going to be Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
He knew something,
yeah.
and I think last minute it wasn't. But you're right. Sorry,
And
Jesse.
then Tavares comes out, and we see this video of him being the most stoic man in the world after being named captain. You're like, that's the captain. That's the leader of the team. He's the most veteran guy there. You know, just bring him in. He's hometown boy. He should be captain.
Steven.
You need to know what to expect of your captain.
Yes. So,
Right.
do you think Tavares was the right choice over Morgan Riley, which apparently was not? I don't
I
think
think
that was
either
even.
would have been fine. Either would have been
What?
perfectly
How
fine.
did you feel about
Okay.
Tavares getting it, though?
I
That's
liked
the
it.
question.
I
You
liked
liked it. Okay.
I liked it, but it was conflicting emotions because I all summer I was like, it's gonna be Matthews, it's gonna be Matthews, and then the story breaks out of frigging nowhere, and threw everything out of sorts. I hate to read too much into it, but Morgan Riley had a bit of a funny expression, sort of the opening when they were announcing everyone for the home opener. That seemed a little strange. I don't know. I'm probably just reading into that too much. It's not like Morgan's going to be like, hey, and like mug
Right.
for the camera or anything.
Do a dance.
TikTok faces. And no, he's not going to do that. But, you know, I've been told so many times by like former players who have won, you need more than one leader. And the Leafs do.
But again, back to the question.
Sure.
You liked it with
Yes.
Tavares got it.
Yes,
I
I
liked
like John
it too.
Tavares as captain.
Has your opinion changed, Jesse?
None at all.
Have you ever looked at John Tavares, Steve, and said he shouldn't have that?
Completely no.
If anything, this season has affirmed my opinion that he should be captain.
Right. And this is the thing. When teams start to lose, especially in sports intense market, I mean, like anybody from New York knows what I'm talking about. If the Yankees went on a 10-game losing streak, which they have never really done, never 10 games in a row, if the Yankees had a bad streak, or if the Yankees lose a game, you should hear the things they say about the Yankees on New York sports radio. You should see the things that are written. It's far worse than it is here.
And in a good season, that's still like 60 times.
Yes, 100%. So this is the thing. Tavares, you would have to do something legitimately wrong to undeserve the captaincy. And you would have to do, I mean, what did John Tavares do last year that you could point to that says, well, he doesn't deserve it, other than the fact that he hasn't been here that long?
Fell 3 goals shy of 50.
Right. That's
Bum.
a huge problem. What a bum. This is the thing. When teams start to lose, and they start to lose spectacularly the way the Leafs did on Saturday, weird conversations like this start to happen. And it's your job not to react to them. You are one of the hardcore sports fans. You're listening to this show. You're listening to a show that is, by rights, a show for hardcore hockey fans.
Yeah.
You know, you have to seek this show out. Radio shows are just there. They're on. You turn them on. You turn on your radio.
It comes with your car.
You put it on your iHeartRadio app or your Apple CarPlay or whatever, and it's on. By the way, we are on iHeartRadio for everybody that has it.
Damn right.
But it's there, and I know this because I'm in radio. When you are on a podcast, you're seeking this out. You are actively listening. You're actively downloading this.
And if you don't like it, it's a little bit your fault.
So it's
It's a little bit your fault. You came here.
The point I'm trying
We
to
were
make
just
here.
talking.
The point I'm trying to make here is I'm telling you this because I know you're one of the hardcore people who's passionate enough to go, "Can you believe?" and tweeting it out. And I understand it because I've done it too. Can you believe these idiots, these morons, these highly paid professionals on the radio, by the way, could say something like this? Well, yes, I can.
Yes. Well, I can believe anybody said anything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Leaf
Right.
one of the things that annoys me, Leaf fans are saying this. Leaf fans are saying, there are millions of Leaf fans.
Yeah. You can't paint with one brush.
Think of how many people you know. How many of them are stupid? Now put that on the scale of millions of people. I don't care who you are. You don't know millions of people. You know
20 people. 20, 30 people.
You have, like, over the course of your life, 750 people who you have known their first name at one point and maybe forgotten.
Yeah, because you went to high school.
Yeah, because you went to high school. Within 10 years of that shit,
Oh,
that's gone.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is gone. I can't tell you how fast I've lost that. I'm brutal. So you put that on the scale. Can you believe someone said Ilya Mikheyev should be the backup goalie? Yes. Can you believe that someone said, what if Marincin played wing? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe? Name any stupid thing. Can you believe it? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people.
Right. Well, this is the
so
thing.
many people.
And every time a sports radio show, and you see this tweeted all the time, every time a sports radio show tweets something, that, or people tweet something about it, like, I can't believe so-and-so said this. Guess what? That show just won.
Yes.
That show just got free exposure from you.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they're doing it right. That's how you do it. Now, that doesn't mean every take is stupid. That doesn't mean every
No.
take has to be. That doesn't mean every conversation. But I can guarantee you, in sports radio shows, there are guys those guys know these people. They're not stupid people. And I'm sure sometimes the conversations drive them nuts. But they got to have them. And it's okay to have them. And everybody relax. But the John Tavares stuff, to put it to bed, there is nothing wrong with the captaincy situation here. What's wrong is you've got a very immature team, and you've got 4 guys making a lot of money, 3 of them under the age of 25.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you something, if you haven't hit 25, 26 yet, just so you know, a reckoning cometh. Things change, and they change rapidly after you hit 25, 26. You don't even see it happening, and all of a sudden you go from, we're partying, it's a long weekend, that means we can drink Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, to, I haven't been out literally in months. And that happens within like a year.
I used to punish myself.
Dude,
Looking
Steve,
back.
Steve used to do highlights from CBC and drive 6 of us home.
Dangle
Drunk.
That's where. No, sorry, you guys were drunk.
Yeah, no, not
For
you.
the record.
Yeah, not you. Well, yeah,
I was
obviously.
working till 2:30, but and it's one of those things that I'm going to sound so old saying this. You're living in it, and you don't realize it. You're like, yeah, no, this is fine. Like, yeah, this is. And now I look back on like 4 years ago, and I go, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I get a hangover now. It lasts for a couple days, guys.
Like I'm not even talking about that stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Anyway, the point is, there was maturity.
Aspects that you can't. They're so mundane that they'd be pointless to bring up.
The maturity thing on this Leafs team is going to be an issue. That's going to continue to be an issue. Now, you might say, well, you should let them off the hook for that. No, they have to learn them faster. Why? Because they're the leaders on this team. They're making the most money, and they're in Toronto. You signed the contract here. You played here. You want to be here. You want to make that kind of money here. You are going to be held accountable before the average person would be held accountable. Rasmus, you said it today, Steve. Rasmus Sandin, he is anchoring the Leafs' second power play when a lot of people are doing their second round of grade 12.
Yep.
That is mature beyond your years. And what we are asking the Big Four, specifically 3 of them, is to be mature beyond their years. And most of the time, they're okay. But honestly, the willpower this year, up to this point, the flipping and flopping and the up and down has not been good enough. Be mature beyond your years. We're asking much of you because much is given.
Jason Spezza is playing like the oldest, most experienced guy.
He's
in
the
team.
best.
Yeah.
I just love watching him
I'm
play.
so close to getting a Spezza jersey.
Oh, I think I might have to.
I love him.
Just for fun, can I give you another? Can you believe
Oh, please.
this person said this?
Let me hear it.
Title of this article.
Uh-oh.
Maybe the Leafs would have been better off with Babcock and Lou after all.
Yeah, I can believe it.
Steve Simmons?
Believe it. Now, no,
Nope.
let's play a game. Is it TSN, Sportsnet, or newspaper?
Newspaper.
This is...
It's Damian Cox.
I'm going to say...
Damian Cox.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Damian Cox.
Oh, like,
It's
do you know this for a
Fabian
fact?
Rocks. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't know that for a fact. I just... If
So-
it's not Steve Simmons, it's Damian Cox.
I was going to guess Toronto Star,
Mm-hmm.
because Toronto Star would at least ask the question.
Yeah.
Toronto
True.
Sun would be like, Leafs would be better off
Right.
Kyle
right.
Dubious.
with whoever the two older people are.
At least the Star kind of puts a question mark on it, and then says the ridiculous thing.
You notice that...
Has Kyle Dubas voted for Justin Trudeau? He has not denied it. Joe Warmington.
Joe Warmington. My column of them.
My compliment. Bobby Cappuccino. Love it.
Yo, so Joe Thornton in Toronto, what do we think about that? Elliot Friedman said this. These are the quotes from... by the way, I was shocked when we're getting into the trade deadline stuff now.
Yeah.
I was shocked that Joe Thornton wasn't moved for a bag of pucks. Doug Wilson.
No, anything.
Doug Wilson. Like, I guess the whole thing was, please, he said to Doug Wilson, please move me to a team with a legitimate shot at the Stanley Cup.
No, he said, I've been playing in the league for 800 years, and I just want a shot at the cup. And then
He's slowly becoming Gandalf.
And then after the interview, he threw it into the bottom of the ocean. And that was the end of the stupid movie. Sorry. Yes, Adam?
What? I don't know what
he
that is.
threw the ring.
Oh,
I thought you were
Titanic.
doing Lord of the Rings.
No,
That's
not the
same
bottom
thing.
of the ocean. It was a volcano.
He threw the ring into the fire.
Yeah,
I thought you
not
were
the
doing
ocean.
I thought you were doing ocean because he plays
By
for
the
the
way-
Sharks.
No!
Thought you were being creative.
By the
damn
way,
it.
can we just talk about
This
the
stupid
end
show.
of the end of
God
Titanic and how selfish that lady is who threw the ring in the bottom of the ocean?
You could have sold that and given it all to charity.
that was in a movie.
Or to your kids.
Or
Her
anyone.
daughter's right there. And they're clearly not rich.
I'm surprised Celine Dion didn't cut herself off mid-song and go, no.
Anyway,
I wouldn't have had to go to Vegas if you just sold it. Anyway,
Titanic, a true story.
it happened to a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was a boat and everything.
yeah, it was crazy. Now, so these quotes suck, and this is, by the way, from 31 Thoughts, which was a banger today. Here are the quotes. It would have been nice to at least have a chance, Joe Thornton said in report in Philadelphia. I wanted a shot, Believe it or not, I've been hunting this thing down for 22 years, so I wanted another shot at it. Back to the grind, and that's how it is.
Joe Thornton was drafted in 1997.
Sharks GM Doug Wilson made it clear that interested parties had to be legit Stanley Cup contenders to make a pitch. I heard Boston never went far down the road, and Dallas' interest wasn't huge. Thornton's hilarious personality obscures his burning pride desire, but don't worry. It's there. Now, let me throw this at you. If you're Joe Thornton, shouldn't you just be like, just get me into the playoffs?
Like, do what Wayne Simmons did.
Just get me in.
Hey, Buffalo will take you. Close enough. Yeah, I'll go. I mean, people were laughing at that. Buffalo is not far out. And it's not like third spot in the Atlantic is ironclad.
Let's not talk about Buffalo yet.
Yeah, no, I know. I was just throwing it out there. But
Because I have some things.
I got to give it to Joe Thornton a little bit because I was very caught off guard by these comments that, I'm disappointed and everything. Because I swear a couple days before, wasn't he going like, you could, maybe I'll think about a trade. Wasn't that what he was saying? Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's what he was saying to the media.
Right. You're also caught off guard because you never hear a hockey player speak up this honestly about wanting to win.
Well, and that's what you do when you've been in the league for 46 years or whatever it is.
If you're Joe Thornton, and I don't know who it was, there was a breakdown somewhere. Doug Wilson, Joe Thornton, not sure which it was. If Joe Thornton's directive to him was, trade me to one of the 4 teams with a legitimate shot at winning the Stanley Cup, then Joe Thornton screwed that up. Get to the playoffs. You don't know who's going to win the cup. Look at the 2011 Kings who got squeaked in and won. You just don't know. 2012. Yeah. If it's Doug Wilson waiting, make me a pitch. I'm sorry, what? Make you a pitch? Doug Wilson? Are you out of your mind? Make you a pitch. These teams don't have time to make you a pitch. It's, can I get an asset back for Joe Thornton? We're trying to do him a solid.
Do the Sharks know how to be sellers?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
But I'm just going to look up Joe Thornton's stats this year, okay?
I have no idea, by the way.
Not that you're expecting big numbers at this point, but the guy has 4 goals in 63 games.
Right.
And what did he have last year?
16.
Did he?
Yeah.
What did he have the year before?
13.
Really? I thought he was single digits.
And 7 the year before.
Oh, there it is.
He's not a big goal scorer. He never has been.
No.
But
Where's his assists at?
23 assists this year.
Uh,
So tell me why, if you're Dallas or Boston or Vegas or
anybody.
Why are you... Listen, I will listen to a conversation if I'm any of those GMs about Joe Thornton. Fine. But why am I making you a pitch? I'm sorry. I'm Tampa Bay. I have to go get Blake Coleman. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Boston. I have to make the Danton Heinen Nick Ritchie trade. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Vegas. I got to trade for Robin Leonard.
I got to go
the
get...
former Vezina Trophy winner. I don't have time for Joe Thornton, who's probably going to sometimes get into my
he's
lineup.
a fourth liner on any top-tier NHL team.
Maybe.
Maybe that.
Maybe. He
Yeah.
doesn't
Okay,
have
look
the
at the
wheels.
Leafs right now. Who you kick out of the lineup?
No one.
Goat?
Not a single player.
Goat.
You sure?
I would try him over Goat.
I'd try him, but he wouldn't have like a spot,
Right.
like a concrete spot. You can have Joe, or you can re-sign Jason Spezza.
Oh, you're going to have re-sign Jason Spezza.
Okay, this one's out of date. You can have Joe or Timashov.
I think you take Timashov because of the youth factor. Now, I like Joe's personality, though. I like what the influence on the room.
That's the tiebreaker. Timashov is not so special that
No,
you
he's
pass
not.
up that opportunity.
You can get Timashov back if you really wanted him that badly.
Yeah.
If you're
Like-
a place like Buffalo, maybe you bring him in just to sell some jerseys, reignite the fan base that's very upset.
Well,
I don't
apparently, we got to talk about Buffalo later, but
Yeah.
because there's a whole thing with this that's
know. The
really
bringing
strange.
in Simmons.
Not even just that. It all goes back to Jack Eichel with Buffalo, but we'll get to
Okay.
that in a second. I just want to say, I'm not trying to besmirch Joe Thornton, and I would have loved to see him be a
No.
Leaf. And let me
Hall
throw,
of Fame.
but the whole idea that some Stanley Cup contending team has to make the Sharks a pitch, that to me is a definite goof up. And frankly, if the Sharks are at a stage where they're like, well, we're not going to make the playoffs, which they should be. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
No, not even close.
So why wouldn't you try to get at least something? Like if the Leafs
before
were able,
the deadline.
if the Leafs were able to turn Michael Hutchinson into anything, 887 save percentage, Michael Hutchinson, you have no excuse not to get something back for Joe Thornton. I'm sorry.
What's the return? Like a fifth? If that sixth?
Conditional 7th on his... Dude, if you're the Sharks, just to do him a solid, literally do a conditional 7th based on him re-signing, which he's probably not going to, which means it's free.
Yeah.
But
Or like
there's
playing one playoff game.
There's no
Yeah.
reason for him to be there.
And
Right.
and Doug Wilson, who I'm frank, I'm just going to say this: the reason Doug Wilson has been there so long is because of guys like Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau and Brent Burns. Like the reason that you are there, Doug, is because those guys performed for you well into their late 30s.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd be gone. That's just the game, man.
By
If
the
they
way-
had fallen off early and those guys had those contracts, Doug Wilson would be gone.
Dude, goaltending for sure, injuries for sure in San Jose, but they didn't have goaltending last year.
Mm-hmm.
And before the injury, like we talk about teams being in their happy place. The Sharks ain't there. They are not having a good time. They are not in their happy place. What would be interesting to me, I want to see, I would be very interested to see Joe Thornton with another team. I don't know about Toronto, maybe.
Here's
but
what Elliot Friedman said.
Because I could definitely see him having a much better season next year, despite being as old as he is.
I agree with that too. I agree with that too, and there's lots of reasons I agree with that. I think on a better team he does better, frankly. He's used to playing with high performance, and as you said, I think the Sharks are just not in the happy zone this year. Now,
and sorry, one last thing. We had the Jason Spezza should he play every day conversation. He definitely should be. Joe Thornton should not.
right, okay.
Joe Thornton should not.
So
no matter where he goes.
According to Elliot Friedman, if Thornton is not sold on the Sharks, and they have been his comfort zone in the past,
Of course.
of
Since
course,
2005.
and they've been amazing.
Yeah.
He's willing to seek, so if he's not sold on the Sharks and he's willing to seek out a new life, Friedman's prediction is Toronto will be a factor. He said, I can't confirm this, but I believe the Toronto Maple Leafs considered adding him now. Two things stopped it. Their decision to not make short-term fixes after the Carolina loss, rightfully so.
One game screwed it up for Joe.
And are they really a legit contender if they have to go through Boston or Tampa Bay or both? It's a good question.
Joe losing to the Bruins
Yeah.
would be tough.
When GM Kyle Dubas said he wanted to see how this group would respond to its tough stretch, he meant it. Thornton would have erased the tension right now, but the organization wants to see everybody from everybody from top to bottom and how they react. Next season's a different story. Thornton made it clear he will make his salary fit. He's a left-hand shot who could feed Austin Matthews, John Tavares from the strong side. They have plenty of time. Plenty of time with Zach Hyman and William Nylander on their weak sides, although they both had strong seasons. There is a Greyhound connection there too. People forget that the Thornton's been through the ringer. The playoff series I covered for Hockey Night in Canada was Boston and Montreal in 2004, where the Canadians came back from 3-1 to win. Thornton came under huge criticism with articles demanding he be stripped of his captaincy. He survived, and he will walk into the Hall of Fame. Good message for Toronto's young core. Anyway, something to chew on. Now, I think Spets is back next year. I think that's a lock.
It has to be.
If you're Kyle Dubas, you must have Jason Spezza back. If you can get your hands on Joe Thornton, despite all the things that we just said about his play, you do it. You do it as soon as you can. And you do it, if he says he's going to make his salary fit, you do it for the $700,000 that you're paying Jason Spezza. If you can have those guys in the room, that stuff matters. And people are like, well, it didn't work with Patty Marleau. Well, it did, actually.
Yeah.
Except that Patrick Marleau was making 7 times what Jason Spezza makes. Yeah. That's the problem.
Patrick Marleau was making more than Austin Matthews at the time.
I would have gladly had him back this year if he made Spezza's money.
Yeah. Well, what he was making with the Sharks. Imagine the Leafs are in a position. Imagine the Leafs trade positions with Tampa. So Tampa's wonky streak continued throughout the year, and the Leafs came on strong, and they're right there with Boston. Are you telling me the Leafs aren't in on Patrick Marleau at the trade deadline? I think they would have been.
I thought the Penguins gave up a ton because
they did give up a lot.
It could be a second. Well, if they win the cup, and if you win the cup, you don't give a shit. But I thought it would be something like a 4th or a 5th, and I'm like, take it
for sure.
Think of the kick in the ass it would give the room. Patty's back. Think of how happy they'd be. You talk about Mitch instantly being back in his happy place. The Greyhounds Factor makes me cringe a little.
Why?
Well, everybody brings that up now.
Well, I'm just looking down. So, besides, okay, Dubas, okay, another Greyhound, we get it. Thornton's last season in Sault Ste. Marie was 96-97. Do you understand that was the first year of the Wings winning back-to-back cups?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
That was Bill Clinton was president.
Yeah.
Was that his first or second term? That's ancient history, man.
Anyway, there's people that know Kyle that know him, and that's probably why.
Okay.
Anyway, I wanna move on from this. Tyson Barrie, the reason he was not traded at the deadline. So apparently what the Leafs were looking for was a Shattenkirk a la 2007 trade. And according to Elliot Friedman, they would have taken Troy Stetcher, but the Canucks didn't have the picks and made it very clear that certain prospects were not available.
2017, you mean?
Sorry, that's what I meant.
Okay, I was like, how long Shattenkirk been?
Yeah, no, it's 2017. Ergo, no match. So it came down to assets available. Toronto was looking for one of those Kevin Shattenkirk 2017 returns rather than, say, a third rounder, which is what most teams offered. That's right out of the Brian Brooks School of Managing. Don't make a trade unless for less than you want, because everyone knows you'll eventually cave. So had JT Miller not ended up in Vancouver, I highly doubt Vancouver would even be where they are without JT Miller. I thought that was a crazy trade at the time. It's turned out great for them. But that first round pick is in Tampa, which I believe they then parlayed into Blake Coleman. Now, I want to ask you something about this trade deadline. You were there the whole time, Steve. You were there. Jesse, you watched a ton of it. I want to know, guys, your winners for the East. Who's your East trade deadline winner?
Well, Carolina got significantly
Carolina,
better.
you don't go through a list of teams. Tell me who your winner is.
I gotta just take a look here.
Why do you say Tampa?
They will not, putting my damn foot down, they will not do this year what they did last.
Now, you were saying at the beginning of the season that they were broken.
And look at them
something
now.
snapped.
Look at them now. Something did snap. They weren't in a playoff spot like around Christmas, something like that, or at least in the beginning of December. And they, like the Oilers, when they went through their little streak, I went, oh, there go the Oilers again. Told ya, they suck. And something has changed. Something's changed with them, and something has changed with Tampa. Tampa added some meat, which they really lacked. Blake Coleman's contract rules. He's meat and skill. A first for Barclay Goodrow is some sort of acid trip.
That was weird. I didn't understand that.
I don't.
There must have been another buyer on Barclay Goodrow.
Elliot Friedman gave me a damn heart attack. He was.
He said first for Goodrow, and it was like whoa.
Goodrow to Tampa, and like everyone went, "What?"
He's like Barclay,
and we all went, "Oh, wait, what?" Like,
yeah,
it was a different what. They have more meat, and they have an attitude that they did not have last year, and probably the most important factor, an unconcussed Victor Hedman.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It was a big one, man. It screwed them.
Yep.
It screwed them.
Yep.
So,
but
whoever's
a team as deep as Tampa, I know Victor Hedman's one of their big guys, but it should not make you lose to Columbus in 4 games.
So now here's the funny thing about Tampa's fate. So I think they're going to win the East. So they're going to finish first, which means they got to play a wild card team. Well, the 2 wild card teams right now are the Islanders, and who juiced up, and the Hurricanes, who juiced up.
Oh man, the Hurricanes had a great
Where have I seen this movie before? Where have I seen this before?
Oh yeah,
Tampa playing a wild card team that juiced up, unless they hop, and I don't know even who they're hopping. Who's the top 3 in the Metro right now? The Penguins, the Caps.
Oh, in the Metro?
Who am I forgetting?
It is. You've got Washington with 84, Pittsburgh with 80, and Philadelphia with 79.
Philly, that's another team I was wrong about, man. I was wrong about all the orange teams. Yeah, really underrated. The Flyers, killing it.
The Islanders are basically a win away, and they have the same. They've played at 1 less game than the Flyers from basically tying them. I don't know what their head-to-head over the season is, though. Columbus is the second wild card team, which is flippin' believable. Carolina is the first team out. The Rangers are the second team out of the wild card, and they are tied with the Florida Panthers, but they are up on the Florida Panthers as they have a game in hand.
This is what I was saying last episode. There's nowhere to hide in the playoffs.
No.
So you're one of those teams. Your prospects are finish second wild card, play Tampa probably. Finish first wild card, play Washington.
Washington or Pittsburgh.
Or
Demons
finish third and play Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Demons.
Yeah,
Demons.
it's awful. It's awful. There's nowhere to hide.
Jesse, who is your East winner for the trade deadline?
I think this team deserves the biggest round of applause for turning around not only just like the PR around the team, but also just the hauls they got asset-wise in terms of hockey deals. 3rd round pick 2020 from Winnipeg, 2021 conditional 6th, a 2021 4th round pick, a conditional 1st, 2nd, a 3rd, Matthew Pekka, a 2021 5th. The Ottawa Senators.
Yeah.
Dude,
damn, you understood how to sell. Like they sold and they sold
because they didn't
hard.
last year.
And because they did it last year.
They
but you got to give kudos to the team for doing what they should do, and I think they nailed it.
Is it weird of me to say that I think they got more for Peugeot than they got for Carlson?
Kind of.
Ooh, what did they get for Carlson?
It was like DeMello and
they might end up getting the 1st overall pick for Carlson.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true. But
Lafreniere, whoop, and you win.
Yeah, you do.
And you win.
And the Matthew Pekka deal, I know, I think it was Friedman who had it. That was to kind of top up the AHL Senators,
right?
Because they're currently 3rd in the AHL and 1st in their division.
Binghamton.
Binghamton. And then Pekka's going to go down
It's
there.
actually Belleville. It's not.
Yeah,
and give
Took me a
them
second. I was like, what?
and give
like
them
going-
some help. But I think Ottawa did a great job selling. They got so much for Peugeot. They sold DeMello. They sold Nemestikov, which is a free asset. And yeah. I think they have a great haul.
Yeah.
And Tyler Ennis as well. I forgot that
I'm
one.
surprised they didn't get more for him. Great pickup for Edmonton.
Yeah. Steve, I'm also going to go with you on my East winner. My East winner is Tampa Bay. My East winner is Tampa Bay because of the bodies they added. And listen, I think the price they paid was pretty high. I mean, the Tampa Bay Lightning gave up Nolan Foote and a 1st-round pick in either this year or next year for Blake Coleman. However, Blake Coleman's contract's great.
The Devils got more for Coleman than they did for Hull.
Yes, they did. Crazy.
Straight up.
They got Zach Bogosian for nothing. And listen, is Zach Bogosian a great game-breaking defenseman? No.
Free.
But you know, how many defensemen did Vancouver use on their run to the playoffs in 2011 that you keep talking?
13.
13.
Yeah, you love that number.
So you kind of need defense. You look at the Leafs. We're a month and a half away from the playoffs, and the Leafs are on their 9th guy.
Brian Burke loves bringing it up, but they use 9 defensemen when the Ducks won in 2007, between February and the end of the playoffs, which I thought was very interesting that was the timeline he used. Not the beginning of the playoffs, from the deadline to the end of the playoffs. Dude, you need more than 6 defenders. You need more than 12 forwards, and in some cases you need more than 2 goalies.
And the Barclay Goodrow trade, while odd to me, it's odd because it's a very expensive one. He's a bastard. And he is...
Fought Lucic.
Yeah, this is a guy that you don't want to play against. And I think Tampa recognized, and I think that the Leafs are starting to get there. And this is the whole thing with the Leafs. And this is where I'm excited about this. And Greg Millen brought this up on the broadcast too last night. He said, I see Tampa as the Leafs 3 years from now. Because what Tampa has done is they developed and drafted based on skill. The problem with the Leafs for years is they didn't. They developed and draft based on he's tough and can kind of score sometimes. And what that translates to in the NHL is he's not an NHL player. So what the Leafs went out and did is they got a bunch of skilled guys. And what you can do with skilled guys then and prospects, like with Nolan Foote, like with your draft picks, is you can go out and get the guys that are NHL level players but are also bastards. And let's talk about Clifford, the big blue dog. We got Jake Muzzin. There will be more ads like that in the coming seasons. Kasperi Kapanen developing into an SOB to play against. Really tough. Developing. And there will be more guys. And I bet you the Leafs it's not tough. It's that skilled, tough, I don't like playing you. It's annoying to put on my pads and know that I got to play Blake Coleman and Barclay Goodrow. Oh, and by the way, Kucherov, Stamkos, and all these other, and Yanni Gord, and Braden Point, and all these guys, these other guys.
At the Conn Smythe Gala for Easter Seals, Doug Gilmour got up on stage and talked, and like he still remembers. He's like, I remember going out there against the Chicago Blackhawks, and before I even get on the ice, I'm like, all right, who we got? We got Chris Chelios. He's going to take my head off. I got Dave Manson. He's going to take my head off. And he just goes down the list. I can't even remember all the names. We got this guy. He's going to kill me and then take my head off. He's, just going down the list. We talked about it. Who on your team makes you go, ugh?
Yeah.
Who on the other team? There are guys on the other team who can ruin your day before you even lock eyes with them.
That's right. And they get in your head beforehand. Now, that's going to be tough against Boston, who has a bunch of players that are like that. You know Tampa and Boston are going to meet this playoffs. You just know it's going to happen. I feel it in my bones. But
who was on the ice for a goal for the Blues, talking shit to the Bruins bench, saying, and I quote, "You guys are fucked." Said to the Bruins bench.
Who said it?
Patrick Maroon. Dude, you know what? As long as we're going retro with podcast references, I did nail something a few years ago. I frigging nailed it.
What'd you say?
Guys like Tom Wilson are going to become the market inefficiency. They are. No one's got big guys who can play anymore, and the best teams do. It's the new market inefficiency. And now that the NHL has decided to completely pull the brake on this whole little guy speed game, it's becoming a problem for some teams, man. Tampa is, and they got Maroon now too.
Yeah.
They're no joke. There's no possible way they repeat last year. I'll be stunned.
And with Tampa, is there a line on Tampa that isn't a pain to play against? And after a 7-game series, which might only last 4 games against Tampa, they are going to grind you down. And I think they added the right guys. I think Goudreau is a high price to pay, but I really think they can win.
I think he's 8th in the league in penalty minutes, which is, I think, is
that's you don't want to be. I think that's part of the game he plays, but yeah, it's a little.
Yeah,
I'd be curious
for a first-round pick.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know.
He's got
penalty minutes are not necessary penalties. Right?
They could be fighting majors. They could be a game misconduct. Yeah.
Like Kerfoot, I don't think is like among the leaders in penalty minutes, but boy, that guy takes a lot of minors.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know if Goudreau's like that.
Yeah, we'll see.
I keep calling him Goudreau.
I think if you're top 10, there's a there.
Right.
Like it's not.
Yeah.
It's like if you're a -5 in a game, your team won 7-5. You know,
There's
if you're
something.
maybe plus minus means something in that instance. I think if you go top 10 in penalty minutes, your penalty minutes might mean something.
Right.
And
Well,
it might mean that you're a tough guy, or it might be you take too many minors. But
in
either way.
2020, to be top 10 in penalty minutes, get into half a dozen fights. That's it.
Yeah, it's true.
It's
I mean,
not-
he's only got 80 penalty minutes this year, guys. Like it's not some major.
80 penalty minutes used to get you traded for being soft.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not much.
It's nothing.
Now,
A first round pick just seems like a lot.
it is
I
a
don't know,
lot.
on the
It is
surface.
no, there's no question.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
It is. But
No
Tampa's
question.
banking on it being 31st.
Who
Unless
is-
that's Vancouver's.
Who is your West winner?
I have done a complete 180 on this team. They're legit. I think last night they showed they're legit, and the deadline, they did such a wonderful job. The Edmonton Oilers. did.
Yeah,
Damn,
man.
that was mine.
So what do you like?
Edmonton
You get
Oilers.
Andreas Athanasiou, you got Tyler Ennis, and by the way, that line looked ridiculous.
My
How
thing-
great has Tyler Ennis's life been? Like you were stuck in Minnesota, they wouldn't play you. You come to Toronto, revive your career a little bit, get your back in order, sign in Ottawa, knowing you're not going to be there probably very long, and they're not going to be a very good team, but you're going to get a spotlight on you, and all of a sudden you're playing with McDavid.
Dude, and you know what? I was wrong about how good or bad the Oilers would be this season at the beginning. I still don't feel bad about having that reasoning at the beginning of the season. They didn't look good on paper. Kailer Yamamoto, though I said they needed wingers, Kailer Yamamoto comes up and he's been fantastic for them. It's a really unfortunate injury for him, but it's offset by they go out and they get Andreas Athanasiou is not the best player in the league, but he's one of the fastest. That's what they needed. Now you
have the best player in the league.
And you have one of the fastest. And now you have the next guy who can play next to him.
Yeah, and
It's
you
amazing.
can
All you need
You
is Kasperi
can-
Kapanen, and you.
you can shut down McDavid. Yeah, you can shut down McDavid if you lock in on him, and then you're hoping that his teammates get the puck, and you're just hoping for the best, really. Now with the Athanasiou, you're fucked. You're fucked. And then Tyler Ennis over there too. And again, like what I was saying is, I didn't think, I know their cap situation was screwed up, but it wouldn't cost much to upgrade the Oilers' wing situation.
and you
They
nailed
paid
it.
a fifth
Yeah.
for Tyler Ennis, who I was surprised they didn't sign him.
What did
Ottawa got him for $800,000.
What did
and he's from there.
What did Athanasiou?
Athanasiou was 2 seconds, and they solved a little bit of cap issue by sending Gagne the other way.
Right.
Sam Gagne.
Right.
2020 second, 2021 second, Sam Gagne, and in return,
Athanasiou.
Athanasiou. Adam and I only know that because we went to school with one.
Yeah.
No, really.
Yeah. The Athanasiou clan.
And
we called him I Think I See You.
AHLer Ryan Kuffner.
Ah,
Oh, right.
Cuff
Well,
Daddy.
Yeah, we always call him.
Yes.
But I think,
One
how
of
can you
those.
not say the team that won in the West for trade deadline is the team that built an entire first line? You know, now the Oilers are set. They
Yeah.
have this McDavid line.
So that's your pick too.
That's
is Edmonton.
100%. And then even like Mike Green is a depth defenseman, but he's gonna
Oh,
be
yeah.
he's
I
a,
keep forgetting.
He's a body. It's like they got that also. So I think 100% Edmonton did a great job this
I think
trade
He's
deadline.
very good in the right situation.
I think
though.
Mike Green's great for a power play situation
Yes.
too. If
Yeah.
you have
That
'cause
Oilers
Clef-
power play is a problem.
Clef,
Oh, yeah.
Clefbaum's down with an injury right now, but imagine say Clefbaum that injury goes into the playoffs or someone else goes down. You've got Mike Green, and he doesn't need to score 30 goals like he used to.
Green offsets that, yeah.
Yeah, he knows what to do. It's at this point for Edmonton, it's really about, can I get a defenseman up there at the point who can think the game? If he can think the game and get Draisaitl, McDavid, the puck, boom, done. We're good.
Yeah,
Right.
Now-
that Oilers team
They're
is
going to be a problem in the
they're-
playoffs.
They're a problem.
Yeah.
I'm not totally sold on their goaltending, but boy, they look all right, man. They look all right. And forget the burners they got. Again, the playoffs are different. You're going to spend 4 to 7 games with Zach Cassian, and Jujhar Khaira, and Darnell Nurse, and people forget what a shithead James Neal is in the playoffs too.
Yep.
Like, that's going to be so very, very not fun for you.
When does Cassian's out, right? When does,
I think he's only got a couple games left or
Yeah,
something.
it's going to be ugly when he comes back. Now, does he go back on the first line with McDavid?
no.
No.
Unless you need a tough guy up front if someone's trying to push McDavid around.
People always forget you can just change line mid-game.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You get,
So-
yeah. And his first shift. Never mind.
My, I'm going to go with a different one. And I'm going to go with the Vegas Golden Knights.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas Golden Knights are my West winner, and I think Vegas Golden Knights are going to the finals, guys.
Again,
I don't
for
know if
the
they-
third straight year.
Yeah.
Despite only making it once. Let's go.
I think Vegas is going to the finals. Robin Lehner is a hell of a pickup. Now, Marc-Andre Fleury's had, I guess, a bit of an up-and-down season, but if you look at... By the way, if you're not watching the Pacific Division right now with a big old bag of popcorn, you are missing out or you're dead inside. Or both.
It's a lot of fun.
It is the best. Oh, I love that division. Vegas, 76 points. Vancouver, 74. Edmonton, 74. And Calgary, 72. And look who's squeaking into a playoff spot, Nashville.
How many of those teams you just named will have new head coaches? Head coaches they didn't start the season with.
Can you say the teams again? Go
Now,
through that
Nashville,
list.
by the way, is in the Central. I'm throwing that out there. But I just was throwing that out there.
Nashville is one. Calgary.
So you got
Vegas.
Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary. 1, 2, 3, 4. The point spread is 4 points from first to the first wild card.
Where's Arizona?
They have 70 points. They're fourth, and Winnipeg also
they
has
in the
70
playoffs,
points. They're not. Nashville
Arizona's
is.
not?
No,
After getting Taylor Hall.
no, because they have played 66 games, and Nashville's only played 62.
I know I got mad and said a lot of mean things about Darren Ferris over the summer. Taylor Hall is throwing money in a volcano. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Also, thanks for nothing, Coyotes. Yesterday, letting Florida beat you.
yeah, seriously.
Thanks for
Not
nothing.
good. And Winnipeg is still in there. God bless them, eh? Just not can't stop, won't stop the Jets.
Dude.
I think especially the goaltending. I mean, I know they got Alec Martinez and some other players as well. But to me, Robin
Martinez
Leonard.
on fire.
What's that?
Martinez on fire.
Anytime you have the opportunity to add the previous season's Vezina winner,
Nominee.
excuse me,
Yeah, no.
and he won the Masterton, right?
Yes.
Anytime you have
so.
the chance to do that for a second round pick, you do it.
They paid shit all
Nothing.
to have one of the best tandems going into the playoffs.
And you weren't confident in Malcolm Subban. They had the same similar issues that we'd had with Michael Hutchinson. Man, I think it was a great pickup. I think they paid a lot for Alec Martinez. 2 second-round picks is a lot. However, he's going to be this is a win now team, and he's a win now player, and they needed him, and they couldn't wait for those second-round picks to develop into players. That's for 5 years from now. That's not what they're worried about.
Let's not forget the Leafs also acquired Robin Lehner and then subsequently traded him to Vegas.
And he's going to wear 90. And someone jokingly said, "Oh, is that for David Ayers?" And he said, "Sure, why not?" Would anyone be shocked if Robin Lehner did that? Like on purpose? I'm pretty sure he's exactly the kind of person who would do that.
That'd be kind of funny. It would be kind of funny. I wish that it was. Now,
But yeah, Toronto's paying $2.5 million of his salary so he can play for
right,
Vegas.
we bought ourselves a.
And we got a fifth round pick.
prorated.
Now,
prorated.
technically,
Yeah.
it's $200,000,
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
but we bought ourselves a fifth-round pick for
Fifth round
$200,000.
pick. That's not bad.
So some people, I saw a lot of people, man, $2.5 million for a fifth?
Mm-hmm.
No.
No, prorated is. Do you know what prorated means?
Yes.
It's also that money
No, I
wouldn't
know
have
you-
mattered.
Also,
No,
I
exactly.
Even if it was $10 million, MLS will just
be like, oh,
sell
really?
a couple
Okay.
jerseys.
Yeah.
I did not know Martin's
Oh no, we'll sign
Jerkhouse-
another sponsorship deal.
Come on.
I didn't know Martin's Jerkhouse still existed.
I didn't know he was still in the league.
Yeah, no.
It was funny getting his quotes. He's like, it was nice to hear my name out there.
No
He's
way.
like, I was kind of surprised. I was having my nap and my phone blew up, and he's like, it wasn't even
interesting.
something I thought about.
I don't know what Vegas is. Sorry, did he end up with Vegas or Chicago?
Vegas.
Vegas, yeah.
I don't know what their farm team's like. Because I got to imagine it's still not all that robust on
Do they have
account
a
of they
team?
just got here.
Do they have a team? Are there?
I think they split the Wolves with someone.
That would be with
Chicago
Chicago.
Wolves.
because there's
Oh,
only
wait, no, that's San
No,
Diego.
Chicago's
Dave.
got Rockford, which is confusing.
Who's got the Gulls then?
because there aren't 31
Ducks.
AHL teams, right?
No, they're not.
No,
I
there's
don't know.
only like 20 or there's only 30
I think
or
I think
something?
it's just the Chicago Wolves.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Okay. Well,
I'm
listen,
not sure.
I got to ask you guys this. What is your trade deadline, but why moment? Why?
Why?
Your but why trade?
Oh, but trade.
It could be a moment. Doesn't have to be a trade.
Gotta be a little bit Wayne Simmons, right?
That's my pick.
A guy
I'm Wayne Simmons all the way on that one.
Well, and he didn't really want to move all that much. It sounds like he wanted to be closer to his dogs. Like, that's legitimately a reason, and I feel that.
Children as well. He has kids.
I never heard that brought up on ice surfing once. It was all
Really?
his dogs.
Yeah, they were talking about it. They were doing this on Trade Center and they were talking about, hey, he's gonna be closer to his dog or something. Then somebody was like, and he has kids, and I was like, oh, that's a good point. And they're like, yeah, that's probably a good point too.
For sure.
Dogs
Are
have
they based
kids.
in Toronto then?
Yes.
He's got a bunch of property here too.
Yeah.
In Scarborough.
Good for him.
For sure. I don't know. Like, is that the Devils doing him a solid? Like, I guess maybe he only wanted to go 2 places, right? Toronto, close to home, or
Yep.
Buffalo, I guess, is the second closest. Buffalo's sort of in the hunt.
Yep. I mean,
Why not?
The thing is,
I didn't.
they're not that far out of it. I mean, they're pretty far.
It was a bit confusing for me. You know what? I'm going to defend Jason Botterill, though, because what do they give up, a 5th?
Yeah,
That's
it's
nothing. That's nothing.
The
Well,
Leafs bought one for $200,000.
At some point, like, dude, like the whole Dwayne thing, and show the fans you're trying anything.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to succeed. Try, for God's sake. Like, you should have enough picks in the friggin' system that you can afford to spend a 5th on Wayne Simmons and the chance that he might get you 2 home playoff dates.
There was also the thing about them just needing bodies because they sent out Sherry and who was the other player?
Rodriguez.
And
Evan
yeah,
Rodriguez
Evan
for
Rodriguez.
Dominic Cahoon.
Yeah, and they just needed guys in the lineup, and Simmons was a free.
Apparently, he's
free
got a great
givey.
attitude, though.
Yeah.
And I knew Wayne growing up. He's a great guy.
Well, and
So I'm assuming that's changed,
does
but
Buffalo not maybe have that? Like an attitude problem?
they do, and that's why I want to bring this up. That's why I wanted to save this discussion. Now, Buffalo is for sure my what the fuck moment of the trade deadline because the first time and it doesn't mean it doesn't make sense later, but at first you're like, what? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Barclay Goodrow for a
The
first
thing-
is up there.
Oh,
but,
also
yeah.
Thornton not going after requesting a trade.
Okay, well
You
that's
know,
yours. We'll get to that.
That's mine. The 100-year-old guy being like, I wanna leave and go.
Doug
try
Wilson
for
going,
Stanley
come
Cup."
to me.
Right,
I
I think
am
that's mine.
Douglas Wilson.
Douglas.
The third. Okay, so this is my thing. And there's something, and maybe Sabres fans can help me out with this one because I don't understand it. Every time Buffalo gets somebody, it's this guy hopefully will make Jack Eichel happy. Do you not hear that? Now that's what the outside media is saying about Buffalo. The inside media, like Mike Harrington, is not. Mike Harrington said, "You idiots, you morons. Of course they're making a playoff push. They're not that far out of it." That's what he said. And then he retweeted a bunch of people that agreed with him. And he was like, see, right? Exactly.
He also
Oh, my God,
retweeted
yeah.
video twice.
Listen,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm sure I got a lot of views from Buffalo. There were a lot of Schadenfreude views in there.
oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I got to ask the question. And I understand why Jack Eichel wouldn't be happy. I get it. I don't think the entire city of Buffalo, every Sabres fan is pissed right now. However, Jack Eichel is the common denominator now.
I know what you mean.
And
You're not blaming him, but
I'm not suggesting he's the problem.
I know what you mean.
But at what point is Jack Eichel going to be the solution? And it's got to be more than on-ice product. Jack, you're the captain. What are you doing to set the mood? We've seen your weird, ridiculous thing that you do before the game. What are you doing? And this is just a question. I'm not suggesting that he's not, but I haven't heard a lot about. You're not hearing a lot about. Well, Jack Eichel takes the rookies out for eating food.
For eating
Food eating. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but is that happening? Is Jack Eichel being the guy that's helping to try to set the mood here? And why is it that Ryan O'Reilly, guy who goes on to win the Stanley Cup, who notoriously had a great attitude everywhere else he went,
And he said,
I lost my will to play the game. Jack, Jason, whoever the coach is now, I don't even know
Ralph
anymore.
Kruger.
Ralph Kruger. What is it, guys? What is it?
I wonder, like, we've never done this to McDavid, right?
No, because nobody was this miserable.
Yeah.
Like, even McDavid, well, no,
He was
we were
upset.
talking about, like, man, he's going to request a trade.
Dude, if they had not performed this year, we'd still be talking about it. But they turned it around. Ken Holland's done a great job.
With McDavid, it was more he's going to leave because everything around him sucks. Here's with hey, what's going on with the guys who are there? And it seems like Jack Eichel's the guy.
He's the guy
there.
that keeps being there.
Yeah.
And every year we keep hearing about how everybody's unhappy in Buffalo. Who's the guy that's not been traded yet?
It is an interesting thing. I'm trying to. Oh,
Is it Rasmus Ristolainen? Is that the guy bringing the room down? Is it Zemgus Jurgens?
He asked for a trade. He did it. I was. You know what? I'm a little surprised Rasmus Ristolainen didn't go anywhere. But like, just
I think their
because-
asking price for him is just too high. They think he's a great player. He's not. He's okay.
No, he's doomsday when it comes to a trade because he puts up, he makes a lot of money, puts up tons of points, and is bad. It's not a good combination, right? He puts up tons of points. He puts up tons of points and has tons of skill, and he's huge.
Yep.
Everything, you're checking off all the GM
Yep.
friggin' dream boxes. Can't defend. What do you want?
We should also throw in Jeff Skinner, who's gone
Skinner?
from 40 goals
Skinner?
to 12 goals
Yeah.
and 9 assists.
Now, so
and
we brought him up.
$9 million.
We brought him up, and Sabres fans are like, "Do you know who his line mates are?" And I can't even remember who they are. That's how bad it was.
Well, maybe his line mates are that because he's been terrible. You know?
Yeah, you can't,
You can't.
especially from the wing.
You can't do that.
You can't just put a winger with not very good center, not very good. I want
Right.
to say he was with Marcus Johansson though, and that's
Why isn't he playing with Jack Eichel?
Well, that's what he was brought in to do. And that, you have to think, might be Jack Eichel saying no. It's Olofsson, Eichel,
be.
Reinhart, Skinner, Johansson, Simmons, VC, Lazar, Froley. Curtis Lazar is still playing in the NHL, by the way. I didn't know that.
On the third
Gergensons, Larson, and Okposo.
Yeah, but you're paying
oh, that's an expensive fourth line.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Okposo
Jeff
steals.
$6 million until 2023.
And like that's not all his fault.
No,
Like,
he's
that's-
had some
no,
pretty
it's
bad health
but
issues.
Holy shit! Wow.
One
Weird-
thing that's great about Buffalo is they have a lot of expiring contracts after this season.
Yeah, they might be able to do some damage, but the problem is, they brought in Johansson, they re-signed Skinner, and it didn't make a difference. What is it? And this is the thing. At a certain point, yes, it's miserable, but if you're the leader and you're making the most money, it's time for you to step up.
It is an interesting thing that sort of goes unaccounted for. Like a lot of guys at the top of the draft, they're the best, obviously, and if you're the best, you win, right? So he played where BU, Boston College, I think.
Yeah.
Or Boston, whatever. Sorry, that's
Better
gonna,
than BO.
That's gonna hey, that's gonna drive Boston people crazy because I know there's two universities, they have virtually the same name, and they hate each other. Anyway, he played for the red one, right? Whichever one that is.
Oh, he played for the communist school. I see.
I think he won. What's it called? The Bean Pot? I don't know.
Dude.
I don't
They
think-
love it. No one else cares.
Let's move
You're
forward with the
you're
point.
asking a lot of
No,
questions.
no, no. But that dude likes two things: scoring against the Leafs
And winning.
and winning.
Yes.
He usually only does one of them.
Scores against the Leafs.
Scores against the Leafs, and he won that game. Good for you. Winning a regular season game, something any shit team will do 35 times. You know what I mean?
So
Like,
far.
Unless you're Detroit, then you might do it 15 times.
what are they at?
I think they're at 14 wins in
Yeah.
regulation.
Will, the race for 15 is on, ladies and gentlemen. They're at 15 wins.
Sorry,
actually.
I sidetracked.
They got their
If Kyle
15.
Oh, they got
Dubas is,
15?
The race for 16 is on.
right.
if Kyle Dubas' inspirational YouTube video that he posted is to be believed, the Red Wings are about to go on a winning streak.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, getting rid of all your players, is it a bad thing? Maybe.
Remains to be seen.
Remains to be seen. Adam is making a point that will be misconstrued as a hot take, but Jack Eichel is indeed the common denominator. Jason Botterill has done it. I think he's done a terrible job.
I agree.
He's done a terrible job.
Objectively bad.
He
You are
will
not mincing words.
No, he will not have his job next year. He's gonna get fired.
Okay.
Like there's some GMs where I'm like, I think he's getting fired. Jason Botterill is getting fired.
Mm-hmm.
He's done. That's when big change happens, and then I don't know what the Sabres offseason is going to look like. But if you have a new GM, they bring in a ton of different people. They have a lot of cap space to play with. It sounds like, and nothing changes. You're not looking to move off of Jack Eichel. He's too good. But you are looking for something, some move of significance. Like you are, like, do you got to take the locker room away from him? Is that it? Do you take the C off him?
How do you do that?
I don't know.
Right.
That's a no-win. It's a no-win. But your job, like, okay, it can be the smallest thing. The Leafs literally went into Arizona, Sheldon Keefe's first game, with no mission of winning that game. We are getting Tyson Barrie a fucking goal.
Yeah.
That
was
and
cool.
he scored first. Yay! Your mission is to make Jack happy.
Maybe
what's it going to take?
Maybe Jack's mission should be to make the people around Jack happy.
Maybe
So
the
here's
team
the thing:
good.
when you're the
should be
captain,
It might not be
mission.
him.
What,
We
okay,
don't
it
know.
might not be, but here's
But
the
it sounds
thing.
like it is.
Let me.
But
Well, I don't know.
but I don't
mean,
know.
what else could it be? At what point, like process of elimination? How many coaches has he had?
Yeah.
How many
like,
GMs has he had?
I know what you're doing, right? You're going through, okay, is it the coach? Well, ABC. Is it the GM? Well, ABC. Is it wingers? Well, ABC. Is it... At some point, it's you. You've been there the whole time.
Right. So and again, this isn't a personal attack. Maybe it's maturity. But when you're the captain, and he's captain at a young age,
Not everyone can do what Taves did, man.
True.
No.
Captain at a young age in a tough market frankly, an organization that has just been a disaster. So you know what? I do not hold any of that against Jack. I understand that.
Yeah,
But
no one looks at the Sabres and go, boy, they're really putting Jack in a position to succeed.
No, they've done everything they can not to. However, he's going to have to react to that anyway. He's living that. He signed there. He decided to sign the $70 million contract there. So you're going to have to deal with it. And I think, or was it $80 million?
I think it was 80.
And I think, here's the thing: when you're a great player, the thing that you need to focus on is being a great player, right? You're a great player. And you focus on being great. You do whatever you can to make you great. When you're a great player and you're a captain, you have to focus on being a great player, and you have to focus on making sure that the dressing room is all rowing in the same direction. And I'm not saying that he's not. I'm questioning whether or not it's been effective, and I'm questioning why. And I'm not blaming. But at a certain point here, the spotlight does come to you. And I think Jack Eichel's done everything he can to be a great player. I'm wondering what the heck the Sabres need to do to get that leadership sorted out and, frankly, to get some better players in there. Are you kidding me with some of these guys? You can't find depth
100%.
options that are better than this?
Right.
And let me throw this out
That's
there.
not fair to Jack either, right? So I'm trying to be as fair as possible with this.
Tampa choked in the East
Yep.
last year. Who choked in the West? I know my pick.
I have to think about it.
Sharks.
Oh, yeah.
To me, the Sharks
No.
choked. And you
Yeah.
can throw that at
What was
Vegas.
the series again? Who did they play? They played...
Well, they came back from 3-1 to beat Vegas.
right, which
in-
was
in
just
that
crazy.
game of shenaniganery.
That game that you guys thought
Oh.
Vegas shouldn't have had because of the OT call.
100%.
No, whatever.
Yeah,
Stop the power play.
Yeah. Stopped the power play once at all.
Wasn't it like 3 times? I forget the details.
It was
Go
3 or
ahead.
4 goals. It was insane. And then they tied it again. And anyway, the Sharks should have won the Stanley Cup last year. They couldn't get a fucking save. And Buffalo has had, after the Hasek years and the Ryan Miller years, like, it was so infuriating that the Sabres went immediately from Hasek's prime to Miller's prime. Pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
It was very frustrating as a Leafs fan. You need a frigging save. And over the last little bit, they've actually been getting it. They just beat the Jets 2-1. They beat the Penguins 5-2. They got friggin' steamrolled 7-4 by the Sens. We're not going to talk about that. The 5-2 game against the Leafs. 4-3 win against the Blue Jackets. 3-2 win against the Red Wings. Lose 3-2 to the Ducks. Win 3-2 over the Rangers. Like, they've had a nice little run. They've actually been getting saves.
Yeah.
They need some.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
You know what improves attitude? You know what improves morale?
Winning.
Saves.
And winning.
Winning.
Yeah, you feel a lot better when you feel like your goalie can make a save.
Yes.
And I know he probably would never want to do it, but Robin Leonard in Buffalo sure makes a lot of sense this offseason, doesn't it?
Oh man. Well, and I don't think he would ever go back. Like that.
Because there's a whole different thing
got a
with
tattoo
that.
of Long Island.
Yeah.
He was there for 5 seconds. Literally, like 40 games he played. Something like that.
Apparently, the reason he was traded to, according to reports out of Chicago, and Blackhawks fans are pissed about this, is that Stan Bowman wouldn't go more than 2 years with him. Like, why? You need somebody to play goalie. Like, I just don't get it.
I mean, he's an odd duck, right? Like
Stan?
No, Leonard.
Sure.
Like, and I'm talking beyond.
But his numbers have been great on a bad team. I believe, isn't Chicago number 1 in high danger scoring chances allowed?
I don't know.
Like, it's crazy. Those two goalies have worked their asses off.
No.
They have, dude, Crawford Leonard is unreal. And I remember when they signed Leonard going, oh, they're trading Crawford.
No.
Like, that's what I don't know how you fail with a tandem like that. And the Chicago Blackhawks are like, want to bet? And they went out and did it. So congrats for beating the odds there. And now the best tandem is arguably in Vegas. But like Leonard, like you read his Twitter and you're like, so hey, what's your deal? And like it's mostly fun. But like I wonder if, because we always talk about how stuffy hockey culture is.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if like the Blackhawks and the Islanders and they just go, yeah, he stops the puck, but you're weird.
That's too bad.
And then Vegas is like, welcome to the capital of weird.
Yeah.
Like,
we can do weird.
He might have a great time in Vegas.
Yeah.
They might love him there because welcome to the mecca of weird.
And Mark Stone was another guy he's so quiet it's a little weird. Like he's so.
You seen the butt of his stick?
No.
He takes like an entire roll of tape. Look at. I'll try to look
Weird
it
guy.
up. No, yeah, weird guy.
The other weird moment from the trade deadline is the moment that didn't happen, which is when Zach Parire and Andrew Ladd both waived their no-trade clauses, and the trade didn't happen. So it was between the Wild and the Islanders. Ladd, I don't believe, is even on the NHL roster at this point. And this is point number 19 and 31 thoughts from Elliot Friedman. Both Andrew Ladd and Zach Parire waived their respective clauses to switch teams. It's going to take some time to figure out what happened here, but here's the best I can give you at this time. The move was on the table last summer, but then Wild GM Paul Fenton, Steve, you're going to want to listen to this.
Yeah. I'm listening.
Then, no, it's because it's Paul Fenton.
Paul Fenton
rejected the idea. Both sides revisited over the past few weeks, but the issue was money. Parise has $37 million in cap to go after this season. Only 19 is actual cash. Ladd is 16.5, $12 million in cash. $9 million of it is signing bonuses, which Parise has no more of. There were all sorts of issues to consider on keeping money/sweeteners to do so. There were rumblings that Kiefer Bellows was going to be a part of the deal, for example. People were concerned about Lou Lamoriello's reaction if it got out prematurely. For very legitimate reasons, Minnesota was concerned about cap recapture issues if Parise retired early. Because remember, he's in another of those weird deals.
And isn't he like 37?
I don't know. I think he's mid-30s.
And he's got a crazy amount of years left?
Although I'm sure the Minnesota native would have been amenable to the solutions. It's not an easy deal to make, and who knows where it goes from here. I do know the Islanders had interest in Mikko. I do believe the Islanders had interest in Mikko Koivu, who preferred to stay put. And he said he exercises no trade. I'm not going.
Lou, again, like, listen, we praised him last episode. I'll stand by that. Should not be a GM.
No, he should be team police officer.
Yeah. And, like, even he's, like, he brings a discipline and a culture to a team. Like, no one can argue that the Islanders are worse off, right, since he got there. They're much better. But that guy leaves financial ruin in his wake.
Well, and that brings me to the Peugeot deal.
What is it?
It's, oh my God, let me pull it up.
Sorry, I've just processed too much over the past,
No, that's okay.
48 hours, 72 hours.
Okay, Jean-Gabriel Peugeot. Give me a sec. It is $5 million until 25-26. He has a no-trade clause in the first 2 years and a modified the last 4.
How old is he?
He is currently, I believe, 27. 27.
And it's a 5-year deal?
Yep. Takes him to 32. $5 million.
5 times 5 is what he got?
Yep.
No,
he got 6 times 5.
Oh, 6 times 5.
Yeah, so he got a $30 million over 6 years.
I don't hate that. Like,
it also cost them a lot.
It cost them a first, second, and a third, man.
Yeah, that's true. But if you're going to spend that much on a player, you might as well keep him.
You might as well get Barclay Goodrow. Am I right?
And yeah, because you flip that shit.
Well, you have to keep him if
And
you
the
give him that
third's
much.
only if they win the Stanley Cup. It'll be a first and a second, unless they win the Stanley
It's funny. That's the throw-in.
Right.
Hey, we won the cup. Here's a no. Dude, like a second-line center in the NHL costs $7 million these days. So to get Peugeot,
Who's the third-line center?
can be second, I think. Or like a second, third. He can be your 2.5 center
Right.
for $5 million. I think that's all right.
Okay.
Does well in the playoffs. I don't hate that. There are things to pick on with Lou Lamoriello.
Well,
But
and
I wouldn't do that one.
the thing I'd like to pick on with Ottawa is the fact that, first off, Ottawa fans were pissed. And I understand that maybe you don't want to keep Peugeot because you want to get some assets for them, and he did get assets for him. But that's a local guy.
Local guy who's
They
been
weren't
there.
going to go term with him, though. So
Yeah.
you got to sell.
At some point, like that one disappoints me. Like, because there was also when I saw Duclair didn't get traded, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe they'll keep someone. Like, you got to keep someone, for crying out loud. The fact they wouldn't give that money to Peugeot, who can he can obviously be a performer. People like him there. Can be over the years can be a vet to the young team that they're going to have because of the way they're building. The fact that Ottawa wouldn't spend $5 million a year on that. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I totally get where Sens fans are coming from. Now, Sens fans are never going to be too unhappy with this team, at least between now and the draft lottery, because if the Islanders miss, and the Sharks are going to miss, and the Sens are going to miss, if the Islanders miss, Lou only top 3 protected that pick. It is unlikely, but it is entirely possible the Ottawa Senators could pick 1st, 2nd, and 4th in 2020.
They have
Can you imagine?
7 draft picks in the first 2 rounds.
That's great.
This draft.
That's how you turn.
Also, with the you got to keep around old guys to mentor the young guys. They have those guys. Bobby Ryan's 31. Anisimov is 32. They have guys who've been around.
We did underrated thing last night. Bobby Ryan celebrated 100 days of sobriety. It was his first hockey game since November 16th, and he made his comeback there. So I thought that was really cool. And with all those picks, you can, if you wanted to, I'm not saying they're going to do this or even that it's a good idea, but if the right fit happens, you can flip those picks for a vet.
Yeah, or just try and hit on 3 first-round picks.
Or try to. Oh, I wouldn't trade one of the first.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'd be like,
One of
I
the
have 3
seconds, yeah.
first-round picks. LOL seconds.
Right.
Like,
You got 4 seconds.
spend them like a
2/3.
drunken sailor. Yeah.
Right.
Or you just try to hit as many times as you can. But the Belleville Sens are already awesome.
Right. And what happened to the Marlies when they were awesome? They all graduated, and now they're on the Leafs.
There you go.
I'm very hopeful for the Senators' future.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. But Peugeot could have been a guy.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Like, at
That's
some
the
point.
perfect mentor.
Yeah, if you're a Sens fan, I got to imagine you're like, which one are we keeping? Like, are we even going to keep Brady Tkachuk at this point? Like, we just get rid of everybody. Like, when is...
Kachuk's the guy.
Here,
Yeah, he
let's
is
just
the guy.
ask the question. When is Eugene Melnick opening his wallet?
You just answered your question.
Kachuk.
Kachuk.
You have to
That's
keep him.
it.
You must keep
There's
him.
your guy.
That guy is.
All right,
Peugeot.
You talked about Tom
Peugeot
Wilson.
was a now deal.
You talked about Tom Wilson being the market inefficiency.
Yes.
That's what Brady Tkachuk is.
100%.
Yeah.
And sorry, I should say he did open up his wallet for Tom Shabbat. But, that's it.
jeez.
Like,
Yeah.
dude, it takes more than 2 players.
No, but that's your starting point. Also, Ron Hainsey's on the team.
That's true.
They're Stanley Cup contenders.
Also, if the Sens do pick 1st, 2nd, and 4th, the Sens are in for a rude awakening. Because, this is... They have to sell this frigging team. Because heaven...
that was a big jump.
No, I know. No, but heaven forbid they get the first, 2nd, 4th, right? They're awesome. Of course they are. They're 1st, 2nd, and 4th. Or even you just get, I don't know, 1st, 8th, and 12th. Who cares? You got the first pick, right? You got to pay them. Take it from a Leaf fan. If they're... Here's the really shitty side effect about good players. You got to pay them.
That sucks.
When are the Sens going to pay their players?
I guess when they
answered
get some
it.
good ones.
Like, all
There
these
you go.
picks mean nothing
Yeah.
if they don't plan on keeping anybody.
They're going to be around for 3 years under their ELC.
And then, bye. And you...
That gives them 3 years to sell them.
Right.
Yeah, and you
Exactly.
flip them for picks,
No.
and then you don't pay those guys either.
You answered your own question.
Pay someone.
It's Shabbat. It's Kachuk. It's 3 first-round picks. You got a lot of veteran guys already there. You got Belleville doing amazing. They're set up. I'm not too worried.
Listen. No,
They'll get a goaltender eventually.
there's a framework for this working, but it involves spending a little money.
Sure. And maybe
Will they do that?
Maybe, hopefully, someone is in position in ownership who is willing to spend that money when the time comes.
Yeah.
Because
they
right
sold
now
the
it's
team.
not the however it happens, hopefully somebody in ownership is there at the time who will spend money. Whether it be Eugene, whether it be someone else, hopefully that person is there.
Mean Gene.
Good old Jeannie Melnick.
Eugene Melman.
Let's do a press conference.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
Very quick.
I thought one of the most interesting things out of trade deadline was, and I'd like to hear your opinions on this, trades can still be made post-trade deadline.
Yes.
Because of the...
They bring that up every year.
It's not trade deadline. It's a playoff roster deadline is what is what Monday
So
was.
non-playoff teams can make a trade.
No, any team can make a trade.
Anybody.
They just can't play in the
You
playoffs.
can add
Right.
guys, and they cannot. Do you see this year being the year where a team adds a guy, say the Leafs, if more defensemen go down, he plays these last 18 games, and then they make the playoffs, everyone's healthy, and he has to sit out.
If he's got term, sure makes sense, doesn't it?
And he has term.
That's a very good. Well,
I saw it thrown out, and I thought it was fascinating. And the Leafs would be the experimental team to do it.
I think it'd be
I
cool.
know Dubas wants to see what this team can do. If they suffer one more injury, you literally just need a roster. Like, let's say, okay, so we were talking about life without Tyson Barrie. Let's say he gets hurt. What on God's green earth is your team? Dermott Hall is already your top pair.
Mm-hmm.
Sandin Liljegren is now your second pair. Rosen Marincin? You gotta do something, or you just tuck your season in.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Might be fun.
very interesting.
Oh, that would be more than fun. I love that idea.
Yeah,
and
yeah, I
I
saw
like
that.
the idea of, and it wouldn't be some big defense, but it's going to be a depth move.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
But it's still cool.
no, it's a guy like
It's another Callie Rosen, probably.
the guy who's on the trade board every single damn year, Michael Delzato. Whoever is working at Sportsnet right now, just make the 2021 graphic.
And Jimmy VC, too. He's always on it, and he
Yeah.
never
Always
gets
on it.
moved.
Yeah, just there it is.
Remember if the Leafs had signed Jimmy VC, William Nylander would have already been traded? That was a fun tweet.
Yeah.
Bad takes last forever, guys.
Oh,
And I got
take
plenty
it from
myself.
me. I know. I know. Oh, it's when the Oilers win the cup, I'm sure it's going to be a bad day for me.
That'd be great. I'd be happy for them if they won.
Yeah. It's
Listen,
funny.
the only
I
reason we
feel
ever made
bad
fun
for
of
the Oilers fans who listen to this show because they're like, we like you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, most of you don't.
I think what it is that we were never went after the Oiler players. It was always the management.
Right.
Yes.
We went hard on management because
And-
management was not competent at the time.
And so did Oiler fans.
Can't be asked
Right.
for as long as you were and then go, ha!
Right.
Like,
What happened to all the time you were asked?
yeah. Well, and delete. No, I'm well aware of how bad they are. Anyway.
Adam, when you were gone, Steve had a 20-minute rant on the Houston Astros and how much he loves the controversy
it.
that's happening. So I thought I'd update us. The Houston Astros played their fourth spring training game today, and their seventh batter has been hit. So the opposing teams are just
I think
throwing
Al-
out.
They beamed them 7 times in 4
The
games.
seventh batter has been hit.
I think
in 4
Altuve
games.
got beamed like his first at bat.
Yeah.
Good. I'm sorry. Good.
Bregman was hit today.
You're a cheater.
So
Um,
Oh, Bregman can shut the. Yeah, bean him too.
yeah,
Bean him
it's
too.
happening.
Did you see, Adam, the video? So good. This guy brought a. I can't remember exactly what it said. It was like a sign that said Astros with an asterisk on it. Basically, asterisk for the 2017. The staff at the ballpark confiscated the sign. They stole a sign.
wow, I did not see that.
You can't write this shit. You can't write this. I have never wished.
Astros games are must watch
I'm going to watch the
television.
Astros more
Yeah.
than the Blue Jays
Yeah.
this year.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
all
And the
I
Blue Jays
wanna-
are exciting.
And if they don't bean someone on the first pitch, I'm going to go boo and turn it off.
There was I was reading an article today, and it said the Astros scandal is the best marketing tool for the MLB in decades.
Yes.
Can you imagine? Okay, what's
Like that's terrible.
I want to watch the first Astros game in Yankee Stadium, and the first wherever the Dodgers play.
I don't know if they visit them because you only visit one division. in the other league every year. So I don't know if they visit the Dodgers.
What are the
year.
hate power rankings for the Astros?
I think
Who's number one?
Dodgers is number one because they
Dodgers
sold.
Oh, I
number
think
one.
the players. Yeah, Dodgers number 1, and then who? Yankees number 2.
Fan base
Because
is
they beat
naked.
Yankees in the first round there.
You're not going to be able to get through that game. There's going to be so many delays for shit thrown on the field.
Oh yeah.
Like, you're literally
yeah.
not going to be able to get through that
And I
game.
think they play the Yankees. Don't they play the Yankees? Like the Astros have an interesting schedule right off
Yeah.
the top. I think they play the Yankees like two different series in the first 13 games.
Awesome.
Oh, that's
I,
good.
there's something I heard something about that.
I'm just
Let's
looking
look
at
it
the
up.
schedule here.
Awesome. That might be a blessing in disguise for the Astros. Get it out of your system.
I don't think that's getting out of anyone's system.
Nope. I think that's going to stick with them for a long time.
And it
Good.
sucks for all the guys that signed with them after that because they're all getting booed too. And it's like, I wasn't even on the 2017 team.
No, people know. People know.
No, they don't. They're booing them in spring training. No, they're
No,
they don't.
they're. Oh, sorry. You're all gonna get booed. But when Altuve goes to the plate,
Oh,
decibels. Just it's my favorite sports story right now. It's I know we talk about hockey and everything, but if you wanted, I could just do an hour on how much I hate the Astros.
well,
They
and
cheated!
the thing is, it's not even just the cheat to me. It's the pomposity and arrogance
Exactly.
of their response, which is, we just have to go out there and show everyone we kick ass, which is the whole point, is what you should have done in 2017. If you kicked so much ass, how come you needed all that? And I think beyond what's made this to me worse than the steroid thing is the steroid thing, everyone was in on it. And I know there's some degree of stealing signs when you do it, like, if you're signaling to your batter and you're on the second base, right? That's one thing. But you put in a system that no team had any defense for because they just didn't do it.
And you did it not just against like Kershaw, you did it against like AA call-ups for the Jays.
Yeah. Well, and remember we were talking on this podcast about Yu Darvish tipping pitches. And they're like, oh, well, he tipped a bunch of pitches. That was what the Astros said about Yu Darvish, who's a great pitcher.
Oh, and he's been talking shit
Oh,
too on
he's
Twitter. It's
pissed.
great.
And I think that the thing is,
I love this story
the
so
Astros
much.
are a good team, and they're going to do some damage this year.
We don't know. We don't know that.
No,
Adam.
they are a good
We
team.
don't know if they're a
They
good
played
team.
good last year. They're a good team. They are.
There's the allegations they cheated last year.
Steve, objectively, the Astros are a very good baseball
What if they
team.
cheated?
Okay, well, it doesn't matter.
We
Every
don't
team
know.
cheats.
The last
It's a matter
3
of how
years
much.
are shenanigans.
The point I'm trying to make here is that the Astros have this thing about them that they are still the Astros from the book The Astros Way. Remember that book came out and it was about how the Astros built their system, and it was like quoting Jeff Ludhoe, who was the general manager until he was fired and suspended. They had this whole book about the system. It was like the next Moneyball baseball book. Wow, galaxy brain sort of shit. And the hilarious part about it is the only reason that book even was published was because a bunch of great players, general manager and coaches cheated. All of them.
Cheated.
It's insane to me
Dirty,
that they have.
filthy
You got to
cheated.
think about the ego it takes to sit in front of an author and go, "Well, this is why I'm great." And the entire time,
You're a dirty cheater.
you're cheating like that. And it's not you're cheating a little bit. Like Bill Belichick cheats a little bit every season. They get caught. The Patriots again got caught.
Most athletes cheat a little bit.
The Patriots again got caught with a video camera this year, videotaping practice of a shitty New York team. It was the Giants. They're shit. They're terrible. And yet, and their Patriots are still trying to cheat. And that's fine. Whatever. I guess it works for them. But we're talking about
Every
a team,
pitch.
every pitch, every game. And I think the best thing was, and I forget who said this, it wasn't just that they stole the World Series. You got to remember Altuve stole the MVP from Aaron Judge, too.
Yeah. And one of the craziest things is his home and away splits. We talked about this.
Wow.
But his home splits are just miles ahead of his away splits, which is just
And he was
it's
my
so
favorite.
evident.
That run, Altuve was like my favorite player in baseball.
Oh
It's-
yeah.
it's like
How
if
could
we
you not
found
love
out-
him? He was 4 foot. He's 4'2", and he can hit a baseball 10 miles. Like
It's like if we found out Sidney Crosby has been cheating his entire career.
Even if Sidney Crosby had been using steroids his entire career,
not-
I wouldn't even be as upset.
Not even
No.
steroids.
It's-
He has mechanical skates
Change
that
the rules.
skate around for him.
Literally change
is
the
what
rules.
it would be.
A magnetic puck.
Right. Or like his stick is actually it's a robot that hits the puck harder.
Right.
It
You
is-
know?
There was and my other favorite thing about this story is every day there's something new. Every day. Like Oh, dude,
And there's just idiot quotes.
You know what it was yesterday? What it was yesterday is, here's the thing. Here's the great thing. There's 162 games a season plus the playoffs, and everyone is finding video for. It's like 500 games they're going through. And there was a playoff game against Kershaw. I can't remember if it was 2019 or 17. I think it was 17. So when they were definitely cheating, proven. And Kershaw, we go, man, guy can't perform in the playoffs. He threw 51 splitters. They didn't swing at a single one. Or was it sliders? I can't remember.
Whatever
it was
it is.
51 of a certain type of pitch. They didn't swing at a single solitary one of them.
That's insane.
Not what you didn't fuck up once. Like, let's say you're a brilliant baseball mind and you outplayed Kershaw.
You're Ted Williams. You're the best hitter in history.
You went 51 for 51.
That's so absurd.
I can't remember if we cheated in the finals. I can't remember.
Oh my god!
You flipped a coin and it landed on heads 51 times.
Ooh.
I gotta look that one up.
I think it's also underrated about, and I just haven't had the chance to talk about this. It's underrated.
I wish you were here for that.
Oh man, me too. I was watching it
Oh,
like
we're
on
doing it again,
ESPN.
aren't we?
and
We're
I was in
doing it again.
Barbados. I was watching it on ESPN. Going, I was dying watching it, but because I knew you guys would be talking about it. But one of the things that I think is just so underrated about this is it's not only exposed how crappy the Astros are. In like mentally crappy. It also exposes how weak baseball's leadership is. And you wonder, there's so many problems with baseball. It's slow, it's boring, there's all of the criticisms about baseball are true, and I love baseball. But there's no reason that a Sox-Yankees game needs to go 4 hours. It's just insanity.
It's literally a dying sport in that the main demographic, the main watch demographic is males 55 years old.
Right. So, before you get to what you're going to say.
Which is funny because like Jays games seem like young.
Right.
That's the crowd you're around in the stadium.
Right.
I guess.
I'm
Now,
talking
we
about
give-
national American numbers.
We give
Right,
Gary
right,
Bettman
right.
shit. But has Gary Bettman ever referred to the Stanley Cup as just a piece of metal?
Rob, man.
Like, talk about out of touch. If I'm an owner and I'm going to the owners meeting, you're gone. Get out. Are you
Oh, my
kidding
God.
me? And you need to, it's the commissioner's trophy. The World Series needs to be invalidated.
Oh.
It needs to be taken back.
Here,
It
I
needs
got-
to be nobody.
I got a couple for you. Okay, so here's what I was looking at. It's Tom Verducci. I don't know who that is. Tom Verducci.
I know Tom Verducci.
He had a clip.
Former pitcher, isn't he?
I
I know him as a baseball analyst.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So he had a clip on the 2017 World Series sham. The quote is, Kershaw threw 51 sliders and curveballs that day and got 0 swings and misses.
Tom Verducci is an American sports writer who writes for Sports Illustrated, not a former pitcher.
Right, yeah.
0 swings and misses. This one from a Twitter account, N8_B. Kershaw had a 44% swing and miss rate on slider in the 2017 regular season, 35% on curveballs, and 25% on changeup. In Game 5 of the World Series, Kershaw threw 51 breaking balls. The Astros swung and missed on exactly 0. The odds of 51 consecutive are 0.0000000372.
And if you're the Astros, you're probably like, well, it can happen.
And the
You know,
tweet
we're
ends
just-
with strip
We're
the
just
title.
good at baseball.
Strip
Strip the title.
To go back to your point about Rob Manfred, no player was punished in any of this.
No.
That's-
and then he goes and blames
How
the
do you-
MLBPA about that, by the way.
Yeah.
He said, well, in our negotiations with them to even do the investigation, none of the players, and I bet you the MLBPA did do that. But then they were like, oh, wait a second, we've got 29 other teams of players who are going to be pissed right now.
Who are going to be throwing balls at guys 95 miles an hour to punish them because none of the players were punished.
How about Aaron Judge with a bat?
Yeah. Well, let me throw this at you. The whole idea that
I love this. I'm
Dusty
sorry.
Baker, who's now the manager, came out and said last week that it's bad for baseball. That Rod Manfred needs to sit down with all the other teams and say, stop talking shit about the Astros. It's bad for baseball. What about the kids? He had the gall and the gumption, and I love Dusty Baker. Respected baseball man. And what else is he going to say? People are like, well, he's got to say that. He's the manager. No, he's got to say nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. These guys made their bed, lay in it. And by the way, you shit all over your bed, so you're laying in that. Good for you.
Yeah.
And you're going to be laying in this the rest of your career. This is the thing. Look at Ryan Braun. He still gets booed every time he goes up to bat. Everywhere he goes. Even in Toronto.
An MVP award.
Yes. And then blamed a poor FedEx guy and got him fired for it.
Yeah, and
Come
was like,
on.
I'm going to have him over to dinner, and now we're friends. Like,
And you signed an insane contract, and you're wealthy beyond imagine. This guy who makes $50,000 a year is like, yeah, I'm the guy that screwed up Ryan Braun's life.
Right.
Like, what a joke. And this is all going to stick.
I love this shit.
It's going to stick with them forever. There's so many angles that I wish I had been here for it, because it was one of those
We're
things.
doing it.
We did
This
it.
is longer
Yeah.
now, officially.
I
I'm
think
pretty
we
sure.
did it longer.
Oh man, it was one of those things. It's so infuriating, but the arrogance of the Astros continues to be the shocking part for me, and the out of touch nature of MLB's leadership is shocking. Rob Manfred, people are like, well, at least he stepped to the plate and apologized. No, if I go to your house and I take a plate out of your dishwasher and I smash it on the floor and go, you know what, I'm really sorry. Does that put the plate back together?
No.
Is the plate now good? Oh, we're good now because the plate works again.
What if you called the plate just a chunk of metal?
Right.
What if that plate you really cared about that everybody
Oh,
works
your grandmother
really
did
hard
this to
for?
you? Oh, I'm sorry. It's just, hey, listen, it's just a little porcelain. Am I right?
Because that's...
What do you play for, Rob? Why do you have your job, Rob? It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Crazy
I
to
don't
me.
understand how he's still a commissioner. Or how they're not doing something.
He's
got
got to be gone.
Guys.
It's probably just cost too much to buy him out, to be honest.
Guys, it's February.
There's so much time.
This
Oh.
is awesome.
They've
Yo.
played 4 spring training games.
Oh, my
Guys,
God.
are we going full baseball this summer? Is that what's going to happen?
No, we're going full Astros. Screw the rest of the league.
We become an Astros podcast, an Astros hate podcast. This
I would
We
summer.
love
could
that.
literally have a segment every show. What happened to the Astros this week?
You know what?
We might.
Let's do it. Why not?
I am
It'd
into
be
it.
real easy.
Yeah. I
Dude,
think-
okay. So, for the Blue Jays, tickets aren't, compared to the Leafs and Raptors, they're not as expensive. Red Sox tickets,
Understatement.
yeah. Red Sox tickets are very hard to come by.
Yeah.
It's Fenway North. People love the Red Sox here, and you want to beat a rival. Yankees tickets are extremely hard to come by. Are the
Oh.
Astros going to top that?
I'll be at the first Astros game.
I 100% am going to be. At
Do you guys
the
want
first
us to go?
Yeah.
Let's
Like,
buy our
when
tickets.
is it? Let's look it up. Is it scheduled?
Here, I'll look it up here.
It's got to be up.
Yeah.
We're going. We're going. Book it. Mark it down. We're going.
I'll book a babysitter. Let's do it.
And I'll suddenly go to the store that day
They
and
play
remember that I
on-
need a bunch of batteries.
Monday, May 18th, 3:07 Central Time. So it's an afternoon game in Toronto.
Monday afternoon. We can go to a Monday afternoon
Monday
game.
afternoon, May 18th.
And then we
There
can
you
go watch, and it's Kevin Biggio hit for the Cycle bobblehead giveaway day.
It is.
So we got to be
Hey.
one of the first 10. That's good. I love. Now that's home, right? The Bruins.
Yeah, that's a home game, May 18th.
Yo,
So-
man, I love an afternoon Monday game. That's great.
There's a clip. I literally didn't even need to search. I was just scrolling the timeline and saw this. From SNY TV, George Springer is showered in booze as he steps up to the plate, tries to hit a ball far to silence the crowd, and falls to his knee. Guys, he swings himself out of his shoes. I cannot wait to hate watch the Astros this year. Oh, this is the best.
So I believe that 18th that's the long weekend. I believe that's why it's an early game. I think that's the May long weekend in Canada, and Victoria Day, which is great. Let's just go. The tickets are there.
That's
It's Victoria Day. You're gonna get a bunch of
Rowdy.
That's one of the drunkest calendar days in Canada. Oh, it's the best. Oh,
We're going, and we're booing. Okay, we're going.
do you understand? I'm gonna drink nothing but coconut oil and not speak for 3 days leading up to that, so that my vocal cords are ready to. Oh my God!
Listen, we got to wrap up.
my God.
We got to wrap up the show. We got to get out of here. But thank you so much for listening. We will be back on Sunday this week. Hopefully, the Leafs have a couple wins since then. Who knows what we're going to
see.
get, though? Big bag of tricks.
Whether they make the playoffs or not, I get to hate watch the Astros.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness. Connection complete.